Well, if that game didn't give you a stroke and you've survived, welcome into Yankees Unloaded. We win 6-4. We're streaking, Jake. We are now officially a streaking team. I know the competition isn't the best, but we're just trying to cover what just happened. Cam Schlittler, and for those of you who thought maybe he couldn't handle the start, obviously everyone believes in the stuff. He was awesome. He was as good as a young pitcher can be in an outing. I mean, he was pretty much perfect. And obviously it somewhat gets overshadowed, right? His 6 2/3, one hit ball of shutout, 8 Ks. He had control all night. And he was working his fastball. It gets overlooked because of the score and how we won, but I don't want that to happen. We're going to talk about him. It somewhat gets overshadowed, right? David Bednar, and Jake, you were just telling me that you really like him. It happens. It does. And I think David Bednar has been really good for this team. He's been, I can't say overworked, but he's been throwing multiple innings and he's been coming through. This is just one of those nights. It didn't work out. And of course, he gets the win. And we were talking about that as well, Jake. Baseball, stupid. Yeah. Devin Williams technically surrenders a ghost runner, which I think we can all agree probably shouldn't exist anyways. So other than that, it was really just a Fernando Rodney-esque outing, which ends up in a save, right? He was a good pitcher, but it's never easy. And right now, Devin Williams, he's not going to make it easy. I think we can all agree we were freaking out when he came into this game. And then, of course, the most important bat of the Yankees lineup, in my opinion, most people think it's the AL MVP, most likely in Aaron Judge. No, it is Giancarlo Stanton, and he performs when the team needs him. That's essentially that's our expectation now. He hits a monstrous 2-run home run in the 10th inning. I was already figuring out what I'm going to tweet when this game ends, and Giancarlo just flipped it right on its head. Austin Wells hit 2 home runs today. I think literally not one person expected that, but that's baseball. We needed that, right? And we're going to talk about that tonight. And then the more obvious choice here of hitting 2 homers is Trent Grisham. He's having a career year. He's now hit 23 on the season, so he's probably teed up to get paid, and good for him. And by the way, guys, if you're just joining Yankees Unloaded for the first time, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. We're giving away a Yankees jersey of your choice, fully customizable at 10,000 subscribers. So thank you for being here. So Jake, we've now won 5 straight games. The Boston series is no longer looking ahead, as Joe Girardi spoke about earlier today. It's now right in front of us, as Boone likes to say. The Jays just lost, and you reminded me of that right before we went live, Jake. We're now back 4 games. This is wildly doable, right? Seattle today was pummeled. So, Jake, I'm curious. Do you give this team a shot? Because I think just now looking at it in hindsight, obviously a team 4 back in the division, you would give a chance, but we still have to see what this team will do against a Red Sox team, which is a good, not great team. How are you feeling now with all this momentum?
They just won a game that they never win. They haven't won on the road in extra innings all year, and it was not easy. And I just feel like there's a feeling, man. Okay, you didn't get the output from Bellinger, you didn't get the output from Jazz, you didn't get the output from Judge that you got yesterday, right? Okay, right. Well, Austin Wells is going to hit 2 home runs because that is the scorcher that they're on right now. Cam Schlittler is going to look like a Cy Young candidate. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, and oh, by the way, your closer isn't going to have it today, but no big deal because Devin Williams is going to strike out the side. And as you said and put beautifully, he's going to have a Fernando Rodney type of save. It gets your blood pressure pumping, gets the other team thinking, oh, we got a chance, when you know they don't really have a chance. Now, obviously with Devin Williams, you felt like they did. But with Fernando Rodney, it was always like, yeah, at this point, I think he's just teasing me. He knows. He's just gonna...
I was wondering if we had a chance at that point, right? Because once you see it, Devin Williams tends to either just have it or he doesn't. And more times than not, with our team, he just doesn't. And once you see a guy 3rd and 2nd, right, 1st and 2nd, you're thinking, there's just no way I can handle this. Obviously, Mark, who's a member of ours, I wanted to throw him up on screen. Thank you, Mark, for doing that. He says, upcoming series will take years off my life. Prepare yourself. Whatever you have to do, you need to go on a walk, you need to exercise. Prepare yourself mentally for this series, because I'm here to tell you right now, if you're expecting the Yankees to just go out there and make obviously we're not expecting easy work. But if you expect, okay, a lead, now let's shut it down, and okay, we're going to go to our bridge guy, and now our closer, this is going to be mayhem. This 4-game series, I promise you, our show's ratings are going to do great. Everyone's shows are going to do great. Right?
Yeah.
Jake, unfortunately, you told us that this opening game is on Fox. So for those of you who would enjoy something like that, so there you have it, Fox broadcasts. And this series, Jake, is going to be stressful. It is. And so you should just accept it for what it is. Obviously, Mark has. I have. Jake, what are your expectations going into this Boston series? Because you're not just going to be able to go into a series and say, all right, yeah, we're going to go win a game 14-2 and beat the brakes off a starting pitcher. They've got good starting pitching. It's going to be more like what you saw today with Rasmussen, where you're like, all right, we need to grind, right? We need to find ways on base. What do you expect from this team against a better unit?
So, did I get that dead on, by the way? Rasmussen gave up 2?
Yes. Correct.
That was the easiest game to ever predict, and then it became very not easy to predict because I couldn't believe what ended up happening. But we're okay because they won, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. There we go. But no, looking at the game,
supers are great.
Yeah, I'm excited. Actually, before I answer this, right? Because I do believe the Yankees are going to win tomorrow. I feel really good about Louis Seal on the mound. It's at Yankee Stadium. This was in Boston. They don't play in Boston well. I think things are going to be different. I'm excited for Louis Seal. Actually, the biggest bummer for me is that Cam Schlittler went today, so he won't be a part of this series. He's just going to miss it, and I think he'd be huge in this series. But, Gary, real quick, I just wanted to let everybody know that we have just opened up another tier in our memberships, okay? It's called Diamond Level. And now it is not, we're not forcing you to do it, but if you want to be a part of the show further, and obviously we're never getting rid of super chats, so don't think that for a second. But if you want to be a part of the show further, we are going to be adding not a call-in section, but a voicemail section of our show. We're trying to take things to the next level. Now, seeing as there are a lot of people that would like to do voicemails, we had to price this thing accordingly. So it's $14.99 a month for the membership, Diamond Level, and you get access to our voicemail, which we'll be setting up. This is considered a pre-order. We'll be setting it up tomorrow or the next day, and then we are going to have voicemails on our show. Okay.
Yeah, everything else stays identical. So
Yes.
We're still going to be reading all supers on the show, and we get to all the lives that we can. I know we did last night. We threw a few up. So this will be interesting because I've been looking for. There have been a lot of people actually asking us for over a year now for this, right? So I think we're both excited. So obviously, Jake got a new audio interface, so that's how this is possible. So thank you, Jake.
I'm excited. It'll be fun. And then I see here real quick. Yes, you just have to see me in person. I will definitely give you a hug.
We'll give you a hug at what is it? The Audi Club?
Yeah,
right.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
free hugs. All right, I'm not going to put that out. But do I not get membership milestone supers anymore? No, you do, unless YouTube took it away. You should. And let's see, one quick here. Yeah, so I got the Rodecaster Pro 2, and it's
very cheap.
It is a game changer. It's worth every penny. I'm sorry. Like, Rode should sponsor us just for that. Plus, there's
it makes you look like a DJ. If anyone's ever seen it, you can obviously pull it up on Google.
Look at this free sponsorship right here. Like, come on, Rode. I mean, we can forget about.
We're gonna put some tape over it if you don't sponsor us. I'm kidding, of course. But yeah, so I want to get to this super from Donald because this is just so good. This is very good. So Donald with the 5, really appreciate it. Thank you. Says, if the playoffs started this week, would your rotation be Rodon, Schlittler, Warren, and then Fried? Of course, if Fried goes back to normal, he's our ace. This is tough. I listened to actually something that Mark DeRosa said, and it had nothing to do with pitching, but it actually had to do with Kyle Tucker. And the Cubs gave Kyle Tucker a day off, right? They were giving him essentially a 2 days off to just flush it, right? Get reset. And then they're going to reduce his role in hopes that something's going to work out in the end. But Mark DeRosa's point was that there's just no way, based on this person's long-term data and what they do, I can go away from him. That's where I'm at with Max Fried. I think if Max Fried tells me he's healthy, he's going to be starting game one. That's just where I'm at. Now, mind you, if he's so banged up, and we all believe he's banged up, which, Donald, I assume you would agree. I know Jake was the leader of this, of getting Max Fried off the field so that he can be better later on. And if he's back to normal, you can't really find out until he pitches. So I think putting him back in the rotation in a way surrenders his entire identity, which would be odd. So I wouldn't do that. Jake, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Would your rotation be Rodon, Schlittler, Warren, then Fried? Because, I mean, Heel is also pitching very well right now. Everyone's pitching well except for Fried. Like, yep. Blink and you'll miss it. Oh, my God. All of a sudden, everyone is doing their job except for Fried. And this isn't to dunk on Fried. It's to dunk on the Yankees, who, man, they're not making, even though they've won 5 straight, they've done some dumb stuff. Like not playing Giancarlo Stanton, who, by the way, won them the game today. So, yeah, it's one of those things. Honestly, I'm looking at Schlittler and I'm seeing a double-barreled type of start. I would actually go 4-man rotation. I would. And I would do it, and hear me out. I'm actually using all 5 pitchers, technically. But in the postseason, I would go Max Fried, assuming he's good to go. He's your ace.
Okay.
Rodon, number 2. Heel, number 3. And then the 4th start would be Schlittler and Will Warren. And I would double barrel them. What that allows me to do is now I am conserving the bullpen, right? And I feel like it doesn't put Schlittler in a position that he's never seen before, because let's be honest here, he looks way beyond his years right now, okay? He is literally flirting with a perfect game, or no hitter. In the 6th inning, it feels like every time he pitches now. So, like, this guy's legit, okay? Like, he is legit, and we're going to be talking about him for a long time. Now, here's my thing, okay? When it comes to Schlittler, he has never pitched in the postseason before. It's a completely different animal. That doesn't mean he can't pitch in the postseason. But I would probably go with Will Warren to start, and I'd bring Schlittler in to kind of finish it off.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's what I would do.
I hear the variables. Like, essentially what we're doing, and I think we do this a lot in New York, and other teams don't, right? You'll see like a Jeremy Pena go out on the big stage as a rookie, and Houston will just throw him right in the fire, and then what's the storyline? Well, it's guys like Altuve, guys like Bregman at the time. They're leaning on the veterans, and they just get them through it. They get them prepared. But then in New York, we kind of treat rookies like you got to prove it first in order for us to put faith in you. I'm going to tell you like this. If Cam Schlittler goes out, and right now he's been dominant, and that's great, and that's something short-term. But as we go on into September, right, and you're talking about going into early October into the postseason, if he's pitching, maybe not to this level, but at an elite level, I just throw him the baseball. That's what I'm going to do. I understand that it's a young player, and is it ideal to put a rookie out on the mound in a postseason game? Probably not. We would prefer him to be a 6 or 7 year vet, but other teams can trust their young players to perform. They're players on the team just like the vets are. They can help us too. So it's not that you're saying that they can't help. That's not what I'm doing here. But I just think at some point or another, the Yankees just need to realize that maybe a young player can help put them to where they need to go. And right now, Cam Schlittler and what he's doing, and again, I understand this is against a Rays team. We're going to find out more, unfortunately, not in this Boston series. I would have loved to see that, to your point. But later on in the year, when you're talking pennant race starts, big games where there's 50,000 people there, and these are night games on national TV, Cam Schlittler's going to find his way out there on the mound. And if he's pitching big in those games, I'm not going to start the postseason and say, no, I'm going to throw out a player who maybe has been out there a little bit more. I just think that might be doing him a disservice.
No, I think that's fair, actually. I think you talked me back into it. I think I'd go with Schlittler, and then it doesn't even have to be double-barreled by like design. Like, I'm not like taking Schlittler out at segmented at like 4 or 5 innings, but Will Warren would be the guy I would go with after Schlittler. I would have that planned out. So if Schlittler went 6, Will Warren, I'd have him go 3. Like, dead ass. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, that's what I would do. And I think you can do that when you trust your full rotation. I trust the Yankees' full rotation. The only guy I don't trust right now is Max Fried, and that's only because of the blisters. So, yeah, I'm currently I'm bummed that Schlittler doesn't get a chance to pitch in this series, because this would have been the test. Like, this would have been the test that he has not had yet. This would have been huge. And man, the Red Sox are lucky they're not going to face him, because it
would have been a nice temperature check. It would have.
Yeah, I really think he would have, stepped up and, really showed up. But, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk a little bit about this game, though.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll put Ninja Hot Dog back up there.
Yeah, we got you. Love the dog, of course. So, what I love about this type of game is that it's a pick-me-up type of game. It's guys that didn't, like I said, Grisham didn't get a hit yesterday. He ends up with 3, right? And he also ends up with 2 homers. He's now got 23 home runs, career high. Been a career high for a minute now, but, you might not even realize this. The Yankees offense all of a sudden has 6 guys with an OPS over 800, 2 over 1,000. That's insane. Now, it's even more insane that one of the 1,000 OPS guys isn't playing every day. And we'll get into that. But Austin Wells, frustrating at bats, but man, he delivered on those 2 home runs. Wasn't expecting Austin Wells to hit 2 home runs today. The Yankees end up with 14 home runs in 2 games. It's tied for the most in a 2-game stretch since the Reds in the 90s. And this was one of those ugly games where, you get off to a good start. You get the leadoff home run. You don't score until the 5th inning. Rasmussen, we talked about it. They actually are forcing him to come out 6 innings. Remember I mentioned he doesn't go past 6 innings?
That's right.
It's because of the 3 elbow injuries. And when I heard that,
he
I
had
was
an
like,
80
that
pitch
makes
count
sense.
limit. So, I mean, that's going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? You can't pitch length under 80 pitches. So the Yankees did a really good job running the pitch count early in the game. And I'll tell you one thing. When it came to how this game was played, I know this isn't probably the team you want to be playing this style of game with, and we would like it to be easier, certainly. But this is what postseason baseball looks like. It looks like one starter completely dominating the game. The other team maybe scrapes 1 run by. The other team's trying to figure out, how do we keep this game close? And they usually do, because it's postseason ball. And the game's dictated from innings 6 through 9. Obviously, we had to go an extra tonight, but that's what it is. And I love that you threw this up on the screen, mentioning that the broadcast talked about Anthony Volpe's glove, and you also spoke about this, and we talked about it at length, really, a few days ago. Anthony Volpe defensively is more aggressive, right? You can talk about the arm, and Aaron Boone's been pressed in the press, right? Asking him about the arm accuracy, and rightfully so. It hasn't been there. Well, you know what doesn't help arm accuracy? Joe Girardi brought it up on the broadcast tonight, is not charging the baseball. Because I'll tell you right now, when you play back on the ball, you need to throw the ball further. You have less time to throw the ball. And Jake, you've talked about his arm not being the strongest arm in baseball, not even close. It's honestly weak, I would describe it. Well, you need to charge the ball. You need to be aggressive. And so far, the past several weeks, Volpe's done that. And then offensively, of course, he's just not been very good of late. But you can survive postseason style baseball games with a player who can dominate on one end, and it happens to be at shortstop defensively. You can survive. But what we can't have is a player who's going to hit under 200 for several weeks, right? Which he's done, but he'll go out there and field it. Isn't that really what his role is in October if we get there? It's to make sure he makes all those plays. So I'm glad that Donald brings this up. At some point or another, we have to be real about what Volpe is. He has power, and he'll hit some clutch homers here or there, and we'll talk about him. But Jake, we need his glove. This team, in order to go where they need to go, 11's got to field the position. And so far, he's done that.
Yeah, the problem with that, though, is that Caballero is a good defensive shortstop, and he is hitting way better for the Yankees.
He is.
Now. So
definitely.
I think there's a legitimate argument for Caballero to play every day at shortstop right now.
I hear you. Yeah.
And I know it's like, well, Volpe got the glove back, but it's like, okay, but like I can't have your offense be, 280 on base, a 213 batting average, just because you hit home runs occasionally. I mean, Austin Wells does that, but Austin Wells isn't even a starter anymore. So, why is Volpe, And I just think Caballero has kind of changed the game a little bit, because you see it, and his presence is felt instantly, whether he's on the base paths or he's at the dish, and you just don't get that vibe with Volpe right now. I think that there's a legit, competition that could be brewing. I don't know if Aaron Boone has the kahunas to actually go that route, but
I mean, that's a bold it is a bold decision, because you have to remember, if we go into a postseason, if we go into a division series, let's just say we run down Toronto, right? And you go into the division series and you're at Yankee Stadium, and we walk into a game one at the stadium and they say, hey, starting at shortstop, Caballero. Now, our audience would probably be like, hey, he's been playing great baseball. He deserves this. But the Yankees and Aaron Boone making this decision, what does everyone tell us every day in our comment section, Jake? Aaron Boone's not the only one making decisions. There's a whole bunch of people helping make a decision. If Anthony Volpe wasn't starting a big game at shortstop, a game that the Yankees perceived that they have to win, that would be a major development for Anthony Volpe's future for this team. And again, I'm not saying all this to say that I'm really providing, I don't want this to happen. Because if Caballero plays well, he deserves to play. That should be the same case for every other player. It's the same case for Ben Rice that you just brought up at catcher with Austin Wells. So this is interesting. And I think if this continues on, and maybe Caballero is just lightning in a bottle for the next month and a half and leading up to the postseason, maybe Boone makes that call. That would be insane.
Dude, the ripple effect of that, because you have to understand what you're saying when you do that. You have to understand what you are telling the audience, what you're telling the fan base, you're admitting when you do that. So that's not an easy thing to do.
It's a lot, Jake.
But shout out Ninja Hot Dog, who just upgraded to our first diamond level.
I'm looking forward to hearing these voicemails. I can't wait for people to join in, because, I mean, it brings another dynamic to the show. It's more radio, which, me personally, I like slower content, more radio style. I know today it's kind of scroll TikTok and here's my 30 seconds. And Jake, we went for like an hour and 10 minutes our last episode. It was a win. I mean, you can't talk for, I don't really know in wins what's there to talk about for 2 hours. There were a lot of people who were like, hey man, I would have liked a 2-hour show. I was like, wow, really? All right.
Isn't that funny?
Voicemails is really going to help. So yeah, Ninja says he loves yapping, so this is a must buy. So any of you must yappers, I know I'm one myself. That's why this podcast exists. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. So the voicemail is played on live. I feel like there should be a time limit on this thing, because we do have a show to run, but no.
Did you see, I listened to W Fan I think 2 days ago, and Keith was reading actually some voicemails, and there were people in the comment section complaining because this voicemail was like two and a half minutes. I was like, oh, the poor guy, there's nothing he can do. So yeah, let's try to keep the voicemails like 30 seconds, give or take.
Yeah, 30 seconds to a minute. I'll take that. But 2 minutes to like 5 minutes. Like, dude. And mind you, I did call-ins last year. So I have a lot of experience with this. But the call-ins, they can run a long time. So that's why I'm like, yeah, voicemails are definitely the way to go. And we can just do it right on the show. It'll be very simple. And I'm hyped. Shout out to Rodecaster Pro 2 for making that possible. Also, Rode,
shout out to Ninja.
Us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'll send some emails. We'll see.
Censored? I mean,
to a degree. I mean, if you're gonna show up here, this isn't Howard Stern. You can't just say whatever you want. But
we are gonna vet
keep it
them
reasonable
before you. We're gonna make sure you're not just dropping. So, but we would hope, obviously, if you're doing that, then I don't know. But anyway, yeah, censored. Just I would keep it Yankees Unloaded appropriate. We drop an F-bomb here and there. It happens.
PG-13. Yeah, keep it PG-13. Keep it normal. And then we'll obviously, and it's a voicemail, so we can dictate whether or not it's worth it. And my mom agrees. She says I talk a lot. Perfect job for me, right? Just talk to a bunch of people, talk to Jake, and Jake talks a lot too. If you guys, me and Jake will sit there and talk till 3:00 in the morning playing video games. Right? We were always doing this before Yankees Unloaded ever existed. Then I convinced him to come do this. Is there anything else, by the way, Jake, that you want to talk about with this game itself? Because before we get to the Supers.
Yeah. I think with, let's see, real quick, I'll hit on this. Christian, I hail from Shenandoah High School. There we go.
I still have no idea how people know your area. I don't get it.
I don't know either, man. I just always was told this is in the middle of nowhere, and people were like, oh, you live in New York, so New York City? Like, that's all I got my whole life. And then when I became a content creator, everyone's like knowing where I live. And I'm like, well, that's probably not good. But no, all jokes aside.
I don't get it.
Yeah, let's talk about Cam. Let's break his start down a little bit, because I thought you saw some serious maturation from the last start. And I thought the last start he was really good. This start, though, there were mistakes he made in his last start that he had already corrected in this one. I thought he was really good at hitting the corners. I thought he got screwed on a couple calls, put him in a bad spot. You could argue he might have gotten out of that inning if he gets the call, but but no, I was really impressed. And that we talk about it, man. Velo isn't just like a marketing thing. It's not just a cool thing. Oh, my pitcher throws hard. No, like, it matters, and you can see it. I mean, you saw it with Bednar. Bednar struck out the side. He gave up runs, but he struck out the side. That velo still matters. And when you look at a guy like Cam, they're having a hard time, hitting those fastballs. And what I like about Cam's start today is he's not just trying to blow it right by you every single time. He's not just trying to rack up strikeouts for the sake of doing it. They're fun to collect, but he knows how to get through now. And this is something that is hard to learn this early on when you have power stuff. And he's learning how to mitigate, like, okay, I'm going to do this in a way where I can get through 5 innings. I can get through 6 innings, right? And I feel like that is something that has him just way beyond his years. And that tells me, obviously, we've talked about this. This is his first year. This is the first time people are seeing him. But I think based on his preparation and based on, the mature, kind of path he takes, and like being okay about, oh yeah, 1 pitch out. I didn't get the strikeout, but I got a 1 pitch out, and being okay with that and actually wanting that. To me, I see this guy like he's can't miss, Gary. He is can't miss. The only thing that is going to stop Cam Schlittler are injuries. That's it. Just like anybody. I think he is here to stay. I think he is the real deal. I think tonight he proved that he is in fact the real deal. And any Yankee fan that watched tonight should be stoked for the future, because this guy is probably the most exciting pitcher the Yankees have had in quite some time come from their farm system.
Yeah, I'm not even excited for the future. I'm excited for the now. I'm excited for exactly what he is. And I don't like dealing with promise and, this kid's got a lot of promise. Rookies can help you win a World Series. They could be the difference.
Yeah,
they could be the difference
Soto.
between, right. They could be the difference between, falling 2 games short, 3 games short of a division win and winning your division. And now you're hosting playoff games, right? Cam Schlittler could be the difference. Where is this team without him? And I actually watched something today that just made a ton of sense. It kind of floats along the lines of when you were mentioning that he didn't care about one pitch outs, right? It's a mature way to pitch. It's not the sexy thing. It's not what they pay hundreds of millions of dollars for, right? You see the Blake Snells, the Yamamotos, right? The Sasakis, they'll go into free agency or the international draft, and they're paid all that money to miss bats. That's the reason why you don't see a bunch of ground ball pitchers getting $400 million as an arm. That doesn't happen. And yet we have a rookie that goes out there, who looks about as pissed off as any arm I've ever seen out there on the mound. I love it. I absolutely love the mentality. And now I don't really know what's going on between the ears, but he seems to be wise, that you've talked about it. And there was actually something that happened in today's game where I practically stood up off my couch when I saw it. So he's going through the game. Girardi's talking about, you see how he's strictly using the fastball. He's probably trying to get through the first time through the order, not showing a ton of his breaking stuff because he wants to show that later in the game. It's a mentality, that helps your pitch count, right? Gets more balls in play, fastball only. Will Warren tries to do this as well. But later on, you can deploy that pitch. Well, there was a player on the Rays, and the scouting report, at least on the little sheet, said that Hunter Fiducia was sitting dead red, and he's a fastball hitter. He's trying to jump fastballs. And the entire first, second, and third inning, that's what he was throwing. And Hunter steps into the plate. First pitch, what'd you expect? Is he going to stick to that game plan knowing what the scouting report is? Nope. He was prepared. First pitch, breaking ball. He waves over the top of it, right? Second pitch, breaking ball. He waves over the top of it. He was trying to jump a fastball. This is a rookie who understands the game plan. Sometimes that's as simple as baseball is. Like, that's all you need is to just pay attention. And baseball is a very hard sport, but I'll tell you right now, Jake, it's next to impossible when you ignore scouting reports and you just do things the way you did it in high school, college, and in the minor leagues. This is the big leagues. So Cam Schlittler isn't just trying to show up and prove to us, I throw 100 miles an hour and I've got Garrett Cole-like stuff. That's all great, but Garrett Cole is Garrett Cole because he can locate. Garrett Cole is Garrett Cole because of break, right? Command. And Cam Schlittler, it seems like, understands that his rookie season. So what he's going to be 2 or 3 years from down the road, I have no idea. But if it's an improvement on what we're watching already, I mean, that's a guy at the top of your rotation.
No, I agree. I mean, remember I said he could be a number 2. That was like my ceiling. Yeah. I think he could be an ace. Why can't he be like the Miz? Why? I mean, we don't know. We don't know what he can be. But what I can tell you is when I watch this guy, I see a future. If he keeps this up, he's going to be one of the best pitchers in baseball. And the thing that was really telling to me, Gary, he didn't throw it a ton. That curveball has been an absolute
Do you remember
joke.
Me saying that?
It's been a joke, right? They just crush it.
Yep.
They're hitting 455 against it. Tonight, he generated 4 whiffs. No one did anything on it. Only 2 fouls today, right? Yep. No one put it in play. So I really like what I'm seeing. I see somebody that clearly Matt Blake is having a freaking blast, like coaching this guy up, and he's listening. It's one thing to be like, yup, I'm going to do that. But you can see he incorporated a little bit of the sinker today. He had 3 of the, no sweeper. They just took it right off. Thank God.
I agree with this comment tenfold. I see this a lot. So HS, thank you for getting involved in the comment section. We really appreciate all you guys who are here. And he says Schlittler looks more like Verlander than Cole. Now, part of the reason why people compare him to Garrett Cole, they look alike. Now, you wouldn't confuse them at the airport, but When they stand on the
that.
mound, I mean, very similar demeanor, right? The posture's the same. And you can tell, like, he's probably learned a thing or two. Has an odd delivery, right? It's very simplified for a guy as big as he is, and that's a good thing, right? There's a reason why he would do something like that. When you can repeat mechanics, or you can't, I should say when you can't repeat your mechanics, you can't locate repeatedly. That's just understood as an arm, right? Garrett Cole became a Yankee, said, I want to be more like Masahiro Tanaka. I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? I want to repeat my mechanics. So Cam Schlittler seems to get it. So I love this comparison. I think it's awesome. And Jake, I'm not sure where we are in the supers. I totally lost it, but
I could probably help you here. I think
we're right here.
Yeah.
Ninja Hot Dog with the 5. And again, we're going to go back to Cam Schlittler because, I mean, we couldn't be more excited, obviously.
Kids in
Ninja
candy
with the
store
5.
right now.
Right. Says, why is Baboon still using Vladimir Devin? Is this supposed to be a spin of Vladimir Putin? What? Is that? Am I reading this right? Schlittler has tons.
I think you are. I think you actually are.
I'm starting to understand our audience. Schlittler has tons of potential. It's time to stop sitting Stanton. In my opinion, we will lose series to Boston. So Ninja's not drinking the Kool-Aid here, which is
Lenin.
fair. I mean,
Lenin. Oh my God.
What?
Vladimir Lenin.
Who's Vladimir Lenin?
What do you mean? You don't know who?
No.
You don't know who Vladimir Lenin is?
No.
He was like a leader. Russian, I think. Right? Yeah, he was a Russian head of the government, I guess. He was Soviet Union.
Oh, these voicemails are such a bad idea.
Founder of the Communist Party.
Oh my God. They don't teach us anything in school. I mean, they didn't teach us anything. They didn't teach us that. They didn't teach us how to write a check, how to take care of your credit, nothing. So Ninja, thank you obviously for the super. Greatly appreciated. And I see that we have new members. We'll get to those as well. Carlos Rivera with the 2 says the team is aura farming now. That's why we won. See, that's a very young person's mentality. Aura. That's the new.
Feels
my wife
that
hates
way.
that word, but I think Michael K said it best, Jake. These games you have to win. He's not impressed by these wins, and neither am I. And when you see Ninja Hot Dog, right, in our previous super, say, in my opinion, we will lose the series to Boston, the reason that you can say something like that is because this series doesn't prove anything. The only thing that it does is create momentum, objectively speaking. And when you go into that series, if we beat Boston, I want to see what Ninja Hot Dog, I want to hear the voicemails he's got to say about that. That will be interesting.
Speaking of which, we have another diamond level. Ed W.
Again, very excited to hear. I'm excited to hear what people are going to say to contribute to the show because obviously our comment section is a major aspect of the show. I know a lot of other Yankee shows. Jake, we've talked about this, but even before we started the show, we're just like, how are people receiving supers and just saying nothing about it? Like, there's no, like, I get it. There's support of the show, but like, there should be something. I know. There. So Ed W, thank you.
I see that a lot where it's like, you know, you'll just be like scrolling YouTube, and if you're not paying attention, YouTube will just keep force feeding you random live streams. And I was in a live stream once, like, you know, I'm just like cooking. I come back to my computer. I'm in this live stream. This guy's just ignoring. He's getting like $100 super chat here and here and here. Just ignoring him. I'm like, the hell?
I mean, dude,
like,
if someone's donating $100, we practically jump out of our chairs, as you should. Any person, I don't care how much money you have. If somebody's donating their money to your channel or whatever you're doing, you mean to tell me that you're not blown away by $100? In what world do you live in? I don't get it. So Ed W, thank you for obviously investing your money into this channel.
We got another one, diamond level.
So people really want to.
Steven.
People really want to drop these voicemails. I'm intrigued.
I'm excited.
PG-13 again, guys. PG-13.
Gary's like, please God.
Yeah, please don't strike our channel down. That's the only worry. I'll say this, it doesn't even really have to be PG-13. All it's got to do is be serviceable enough where future sponsors won't be pissed at us. Just keep that in mind, right? That this is still a business. But other than that, let it fly. So, Steven, thank you for that.
We got a second deck member, Donald. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Donald.
The memberships are flying out here, so we appreciate y'all. And then, oh my God, I've lost. Okay, back to Ninja Hot Dog. Why did Cabby not get second after? I'm so glad you brought this up.
You were not happy about this.
I'm so glad. I was furious about this. So you're telling me the incompetence, the sheer, utter incompetence of the umpire. Mm-hmm. One of the guys is like, yeah, go to second. Do you know what that looked like? That was like working at a retail store and the newbie who's like 16 years old, has no idea what he's doing, rings you up, gives you the deal that expired yesterday, and then it's like, oh, actually, like, we got to redo that. You got to return that, and then you have to pay me more because I messed up.
Yeah, I didn't understand it, and this is really the gist of it, because umpires aren't perfect. I think we can all admit that. Like, these are human beings, and if you're going to have humans do a job, they've got egos. Like, pretty much all humans naturally, right? They get pissed off. They get super happy. They get super pissed off, right? And when there's humans out there, they can just change. Jake, we were just talking about this. You were talking about the officiating in the NHL, right? In the NFL. Yeah. In the NFL, it's more of a committee. Hey, we want this guy out of here. Let's come to an agreement. And they do so, right? Meanwhile, in baseball, it's like one guy was just seemingly dominating the situation. I didn't get that. I don't have an answer for this question.
Well, so also, I'd like to add the entire point of the two, throw over rule is for the speed of the game. So it doesn't matter. I don't give a rippity doodah that Pete Fairbanks stepped off the mound before he threw to first. Like, oh, well, you stepped off before. That doesn't. The game is still, now it's slowed down.
Wait, by the way, Jake, do you know that a pickoff is a step off? Do people understand that?
Yes.
When you pick off, the
Michael
first
Kay
thing
was
that
just trying to pick up the pieces because he didn't get it.
Right.
He was like, how does that not, what? Like, are they saying because he stepped off? They got it wrong. And
when
then
you step off, you have to pick off. You have to move your back foot off of the mound, which is by definition considered a step off.
So
then
frustrating.
You spin and throw. So the idea that he stepped off again is nonsense.
It's insane. Well, and then on top of it, the caught stealing, which all right. I hate the sliding over the base. I really do. But I have actually changed my opinion on this.
Oh, you have?
Yes. I actually think that if you touch second before you are tagged, you should be safe on a steal. I don't see why. Here's why. Here's my argument. Tonight, we saw one of the most egregious things ever. Caballero almost touched second before the ball got into the glove. Like, the ball is in the field of play. You can see it on your TV screen, and Caballero's sliding already, and he almost has touched the base. He's safe by a century, and then he's now out because he overslides second, and it's like, I hate those oven mitts. I do. But, like, part of me is also like, he should be safe. So
I have a new rule.
You're getting out. You're telling me you're getting an out, and a catcher gets a thrown out like that. There's no other way to explain it. All it goes in the stat sheet is that the catcher threw the guy out. You sucked. You sucked. That ball was not even close. He was saved by a mile. You don't deserve
one of those situations
for that.
Where when your team is the beneficiary of it, it doesn't seem that bad. But when your team is sliding in 10 feet, like, seconds safe, it's just not even close.
Yeah.
Right? I think there should be a new rule. I do. I think what the rule is, and games change. Every sport changes. There's always rule changes. I think they should have something called reasonable momentum. Okay?
I love this.
Player goes into second base, and it's just egregious. He slides and he goes 5 feet past the bag, or he barely knew he was going to slide, and then he touches second, and stumbles over second and gets touched, right, obviously by the base runner or by by a shortstop or a second baseman or a third baseman, you can call that player out. But when a player slides in and they're like, oh, my left hand is on the base now, and then my hand came up for a second and then my other hand touched, and you touched me in the split second that I came off the base, me personally, I don't want to see replay change that. I don't. That's the thing. We will, and I promise you, we will. There's going to be a postseason game. There's going to be a game in the pennant race in late September where a player goes sliding into third base. He'd otherwise be safe. And they're like, oh, you got to stay on the bag. I already know what the usual rules are of baseball. I get the rules. I played baseball. But do I want to see a player who comes in and is easily safe and his hand comes off the base for a millisecond and somebody just keeps the tag on his hip and now he's out? I just don't think personally that that's baseball. I think this can be a way that baseball adapts. And I sort of agree with you there, Jake. I do.
And I'll say this, to your point, they have that. I mean, it's a different way, but they have that in the NFL. It's called forward progress. You can't just catch the ball and then you get the first down and then they just shove you back 10 yards as long as you don't make a football move to get back, right? And you just let them rule. Just push you. It's a great rule because forward progress matters. If you're throwing over the middle, you catch the ball, you don't drop it, you have the first down, and then 5 guys, and I'm not talking about burgers and fries, come from behind and shove you to the point where now you're back at the line of scrimmage, that's still a first down. As long as you don't try and make an effort to turn around, there you go, forward progress. I absolutely agree. There should be something about momentum, whatever. I understand it gets a little tricky, bang, bang plays and what have you, but I'm just saying you can't have a play like that. And on top of it, you can't have a play like that anyway because he should have already been on second. He would have never been thrown out at second in the first place. But you can't have a play like that where a guy is safe by an absolute mile. And then you're like, well, he was off the base a little bit, and yeah. And
this is a matter of opinion because I do see people, some in the comments, right? And you guys are entitled to your opinions. Some of you may like the old school dynamic of that, right? If you're off the base, you're off the base. You're out. And from a tactical standpoint, no one will argue against you. You're absolutely right. But I don't know. To me, I just don't want to see a game changed because of something like that. I just, on either side, I just don't. So
I see the base. So some people want the base bigger, but I thought they already made the bases bigger.
How big can the base get? You have the base all the way out to the... How big can the base get? I mean... I hear you. I do, right? And you see it in like softball where there's maybe 2 bases. I don't know. I have no idea what the solution
Christian is saying vertically. I don't. That would look ugly.
Vertically?
That would look hideous.
That would, well, if it was bigger vertically, you would collide with second base. No. No. Not. I appreciate obviously trying to think it through. I don't think it's the move. Scott Ross with the 5. Appreciate it. Thank you, Scott. Says pulled the trigger. I'm glad because we were pushing for this. Heading to New York City and going Friday night. The Fried game. LOL. Oh boy. So I'm guessing that Scott Ross is a big.
It's your funeral,
Max Fried. Yeah, and it's your money. So if you, I'll tell you what though. Man. There's a lot to be gained in that. We're excited about that game because it's also an opportunity. If Max Fried's dominant in that game and he looks like the old Max Fried that we saw first half, well. Scott, you found yourself one of the best games of the year to go to, I'm afraid. So, obviously, enjoy yourself.
Add handles to the base.
Handles? Yeah, that would be nice. Or put some Velcro on there. I have no idea.
Like the handles on the car, like on top. Like
we need... At this point, we can probably give Giancarlo some handles out there in right field.
Oh, anything. Man.
Anything to help. So Scott, obviously enjoy yourself. That'll be a great time. And Apex, thank you for the 2. Says Jake, I would pair Schlittler with Fried than Warren. So I don't think there's any way. What do you think about this? Because I don't think there's any way you pay someone $200 million and then make him a split time job. I can't see it.
No, and I'm not one of those guys like, oh, I paid him so he has to play, because obviously last year I made that very clear. I didn't care how much you paid DJ LeMahieu. He shouldn't play. Okay, but if you go out and you spend that money on an ace and he doesn't pitch the first game, like, there's just no, that is atrocious. That is so unacceptable. Like,
Aaron Boone should literally be put in prison without parole. If Fried comes out in the 5th inning of a split time job, arrested.
That's like going into a playoff game, like do or die back in the day when that was the dumbest shit ever. The 1 game wild card.
Oh yeah, Pittsburgh got screwed with the 1 game wild card. I think Pittsburgh won like 98 games back to back years and left in 1 wild card game. It was sad.
It was awful. But yes, you say we go back in time, the Keuchel game or whatever, you know.
Yes.
So it's winner take all, whatever, and you don't play Stanton. That is, to me, the exact same as not pitching your ace in game 1 of any playoff game.
I would say so. And of course, Apex, what he's getting at as well, is what if Fried is not back to himself by that point? Then it kind of opens the door for something else. But I just don't think the Yankees are going to get creative with that. You've paid too much money at the beginning of the contract. There's just no way. Because what are you really doing by having him do that? You're essentially saying he can't handle it, or you're saying he's hurt and he needs time. Well, if he needs time, put him on the IL. So Ninja Hot Dog recently became a Yankees Unloaded member.
We did talk about that.
We talked about that already.
The first diamond level. So
yeah, that was a while ago. So obviously, Ninja, thank you for doing so. And Uptown Sports TV says, great win. Thank you for the 5. Love listening to you guys while working. That seems to be the trend, Jake. Everyone's listening to Yankees Unloaded while working. How much work's getting done around here?
Hey, I mean, to be fair, you know, I used to work in tolling, and all day I'd be doing like violations and stuff like this, right, and filling them out, and I'm listening to Colin Cowherd for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, like, so I get it. You're in the flow, and you just put on somebody that has a good voice, and clearly I'm not tooting my own horn, but apparently some people like listening to our voices, Gary, and
apparently
that's that, you know?
Yeah, and Uptown says Cam looks good when it comes to adjusting late in the game. Thank goodness. It doesn't take a wizard to make in-game adjustments. That's just part of having a baseball IQ and leaning on your teammates, right? Garrett Cole's in the dugout. Carlos Rodon's in the dugout. Guys who are veterans. So if you're trying to figure out how do I make an adjustment, you've got all the resources you need. And so obviously what Uptown's bringing up is the adjusting late. It's all you need. When you have the stuff and you have the ability to make adjustments, you're going to pitch a long time in this sport. So obviously good for him, good for us, right? It helps our podcast when we got an arm like this. And he says, keep killing it, fellas. So Uptown, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate
and Donald,
you.
I believe, also, I think we already announced Donald as a member. I'll throw him up on screen again. Thank you, Donald, for that. And Golden, look how quick I did that. We're getting,
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Golden with the 5, really appreciate it. It says Warren Heel, Cam, Ben Hess, LaGrange, Elmer, Bryce. Yankees have a plethora of young, good pitching. They've actually been able to develop pitchers. Yeah, absolutely, Jake. And another thing this does and how you can progress this is not all these guys are going to be in our rotation. Look how many veterans we're paying. Rodon, Fried, Cole. All these guys are going to be on our team for at least the next 3 or 4 seasons. So what does that mean? All these guys that we've developed that are actually performing at the minor league level or even in the big leagues with Heel, Warren, and obviously, right, with what you're seeing with Schlittler, you have ammunition. When you want to go get a big fish out on the free agents, out on the market via trade in the winter, you can use some of these names to go get that done. So absolutely love the Super.
No, you're absolutely right on that. And I think, we've talked about at length, there's only going to be 1 or 2 guys. And I mean, right now you're looking at, they have a surplus because, Clark Schmidt will be back next year at some point. And it's like, well, you might not feel like Clark Schmidt is, worth putting in this rotation because next year, we could talk about Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Luis Heel, Will Warren, Cam Schlittler. The Yankees have a decision to make. I mean, you add Clark Schmidt to that list, that's 7 pitchers. That's not including, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz should be ready for next year, the way he's pitching. So, 8 pitchers, right?
Someone's getting moved.
So that's the thing is, it becomes, that's a good problem to have. That is a good problem to have. Because here's the difference, right? The good problem to have with having all those starters is that you can't keep 8 starters. So you have to make, it forces you, right? But what we saw this year, with all these outfielders, it's you can because there's a bench and you have to have 13 hitters on a 26-man roster until the postseason. Then you can configure it however you want. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. And by the way, I just really thought about something with the postseason, how you can configure it however you want. I think they're going to keep fewer bullpen pitchers. I think we're gonna see more hitters, and the reason being is because they have this starting pitcher thing. Because again, you have 26, but you can configure it however you want in the postseason, and you don't need 5 starters for a full 5-man rotation.
It also gives you some flexibility as far as our bench goes, because you have to remember, before the deadline and what we did via trade, this team, I did not like our bench at all.
No,
we had nothing. Now we like our bench. There's actually a player on our bench right now that there are a lot of people in our audience who think should be starting games, right? So that's a good thing. Now, is it great that we're not getting what we want? I mean, not really, but it goes to show you that we at least have some options there. He's the first guy off the bench. Okay, awesome. Well, when you go into a postseason series, you have no idea who's going to make an impact. No clue. You have no idea. So you go watch the 2009 World Series and you see some guys coming off the bench consistently in their role in that World Series run, they have impact. So you're not going to win a World Series. You're not going to go win a division, run down Toronto without these guys off the bench. So I love the fact that we're at least acknowledging right here, right now with Golden Space and saying that we've got a surplus there. Don't overdo it, right? With what we did, it feels like we kind of did. We got rid of Nestor Cortez at the time, brought in Devin Williams. We're like, don't worry about it. We've got all these starters. Then Garrett Cole goes down. Heel's not ready. We lose Schmidt. And you're like, well, who's starting games? We can't go 5 innings. It suddenly became, where's our next starter coming from? But as we go on, some of these guys may fall, right? I have no idea if it's going to be LaGrange, Elmer, Bryce. I don't know. But not everybody works out. But when you have a list that deep of well-known players that are performing well, like you said, Jake, we only need 1 or 2 of them to land. The rest of them can probably move on in a deal. It makes for at least, finally, we are in position to be more creative in the winter, to get much better. So that's very exciting, obviously, for the future. And Alex, with the 20 bomb, really appreciate it, Alex.
Appreciate you, Alex.
Yeah, not every day you see some orange. So thank you, obviously, a member here, 49ers fan, so obviously big friend of Jake's. Never forget who Big G is. He's not quite 2017 version, obviously, sitting there talking about MVP, Giancarlo Stanton, just before we got him, when he hit 18 dingers in August and 12 in September. Goodness gracious. But he's still a monster. Jake, I want to use this as an opportunity to talk about Giancarlo because, in my opinion, he's the leader of the team. I get it. Judge says the right things. He's good in the media. He's going to give you the political answer. He's obviously more than likely going to win AL MVP. He performs. But when it's crunch time, this is the player the Yankees lean on every time. Anytime the mic is in front of any player's face in this organization, pick your year. 2019, COVID short season, 2021. Which player were all of our players agreeing, oh yeah, he's our guy? It was Giancarlo, right? So to Alex's point, yeah, he may not be in his MVP form, and that's all health related. If Giancarlo could stay out in right field physically, we may be getting MVP Giancarlo. That is actually the level he's playing at. So And I will say, it's probably harder to hit today in 2025 than it was back in 2017. Pitchers have gotten much better. Batting averages aren't depleting for no reason. So when you see 300 plus from a pure power bat, that is, I can't even call it next level. It is historically great.
Yeah, what he's doing is just incredible. And you look and you're like 15 home runs, and he's played in 40 games, I believe. He's only started 37. I mean, and this is a guy you and I got on because he didn't have good numbers pinch hitting. And now he has 2 pinch hit home runs, huge pinch hit home runs this year, right? He is so important. And when you look at the numbers, like, it's impressive, Gary. You know, he's walking. Well, I mean, here, I'll bring it up because we haven't had our old pal Savant on the screen in a minute. So
no, it's been since the deadline, I think, since we've even seen Savant.
So Savant's back, and as you can see here, and you probably can't because it seems like it's really small.
What a major surprise. Hercules over here is lighting up the Savant page.
And shame on Boone because he's not even qualified because of how little he gets a chance to play. But you see these numbers and you're like, this is ungodly. His average bat speed is 80 miles per hour, almost 81. I don't know if you can tell. There's no space here. This
Could you imagine
is
breaking
100
into his
percentile.
house and all he's got's a bat? He would just he would just swing through you.
It's
6'6",
so-
245-pound dude. Just
It's so funny.
would just swing straight through your chest. You would just kill you on impact.
His average exit velo, which you have to understand how freaking wild this is a barrel. Every time this guy swings, he's expected to barrel the ball. That's insane.
That is really crazy.
That's just nuts, dude. Like, expected slugging is 542. And you see the fielding run value, he's average. So he's not, and that's not bad. 16 batting run value, that's insane.
Do you realize, I don't know if it's popped off the screen to you yet. I would assume it hasn't because obviously it's in smaller numbers. But
His
over there
chase
on the
rate?
left of the screen, no, it's not even that. It's actually the fact that he's hit 15 home runs, which when he first got back into the lineup, everyone was talking about that the
He's not hitting
power
home
wasn't
runs.
really there, but he's hitting line drives, and that's a good sign for the future. And we sort of all agreed, and then we forgot about it. Well,
Yeah.
if you take a look at the home runs, he's got 15 homers, which doesn't really pop off the screen because we're sitting here in August, in late August. But take a look at his at-bats. He's taken 148 at-bats. He's essentially hitting a home run in fewer than every 10 at-bats.
He's, well,
Barry
and
Bonds, that's Barry Bonds, by the way.
yeah, he's inevitable. His slugging percentage, it's funny, I was talking about his expected slugging. His slugging percent, his actual slugging percentage is 100 points higher than is expected. Like, 642, a 389. And by the way, this 389 OPS on base percentage, that would be terrible. 389 OPS, get out of here. 389 on base percentage, Gary, stems from what I was talking about when you mentioned the line drives, right? So you see, this chase rate, you see this walk rate. I just feel like Stanton created this today because he comes up, and I don't remember exactly. I think it got to 0-2 or 1-2, whatever. He creates a 3-2 pitch. Now you have to put one in the zone. So Stanton creates his own luck, if you will. And I see him, he's getting these 3-2 counts, and it's making him virtually unstoppable.
I mean, that's the entire game plan of Juan Soto, by the way.
Yeah.
It's the entire game plan. Everyone says, oh, he just never takes the bat off his shoulder. I said, do you guys really think that he doesn't have a strategy to this? You really think he wants to walk? No. He's trying to prove to the pitcher, if you don't throw strikes, you're going to see a 3-ball count. And what will I see in a 3-ball count? Either you're going to yield, and I'll just walk over to first base, and I'll prove to you I can do that. But more importantly, in a 3-ball count, you're not throwing your nastiest slider. You're throwing your, let me throw my front door slider that's going to be in the heart of the plate and try to fool a hitter. But if he's on it, it's leaving the ballpark, right? it's a fastball, no longer trying to paint the corners because that's a walk. Now you're actually in the zone. And that's why when you watch Giancarlo, it seems like pitchers throw him pitches right down the middle, the ones that he hits, and you're like, what would you ever throw that? It's because they're trying to find ways to prove they'll be in the zone to get him to swing. But when you have a high on base percentage, it creates a problem for pitchers. Even with some of the best stuff in the game, you can have nasty stuff, but can you control that nasty stuff consistently? And if you can't, Giancarlo is going to get himself an opportunistic at-bats, and he's going to do damage. And right now, this is a short sample size. It's 150 at-bats. It's nothing. Obviously, if this was over 500 at-bats, you're talking about literally a Barry Bonds-like performance. But Giancarlo just has to be on the field. He's our most clutch at-bat we've had for the Yankees really since Hideki Matsui, right? Raul Ibanez. You want those guys. A-Rod in 09. You want those guys at the plate because they're just prepared for anything, and they take professional postseason at-bats here in August, so it's not really going to shock any of you when you see that in October of this year. So obviously the Yankees have to go the rest of the way and get him there. And my goodness, these look at this. Titty Smacker 25 with the 2 says Stanton is goated. I'm telling you, the voicemails is one of the worst ideas we've had yet. So thank you for I won't repeat it, but thank you for the super, of course. I digress. Go ahead.
Anyway, Mark, thank you for the 5. Caballero is going to have an insane series against the Red Sox after today. Calling it now. He'll force at least 1 error and have at least 3 stolen base, 3 bags. Yeah. Caballero should play the majority of the Sox series because if this is margin for error slim and we're talking about, postseason level, hate to break it to you, but you need that, right? You need the speed. You need like that explosiveness. I think you need him in the lineup, Gary. And so you saw what he did yesterday. And
so you play him at shortstop in this Boston series? That's what I'm hearing. Okay.
I mean, I know he's not going to play him, but I would.
No, he's not. He's not. You're right. They're absolutely not going to make that decision. And I'm not here to just jump on Anthony Volpe. I'm not here to do that because just earlier in the show, I talked about his glove. And that's the most important part of him, right? We've got a good offense. We score. We don't really need you to be this bat, but Caballero can field his position at shortstop, and right now he's hitting. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, it's all about Mr. Right Now. We need to win these 4 games in Boston, in New York against Boston. We need to find a way to win this series. And how do we do that? By putting all the players that are playing great baseball right now. And so am I suggesting that Caballero will start at shortstop in this series? No, maybe he starts 1 game, but I don't know. He seems like the best option in the now. So this is interesting because I don't know if the analytics, Jake, would point to, the hot bat Mr. Right Now, as Clint Frazier would say. They tend to kind of go back to their roots.
Yeah, I hate it, truthfully. We just wanted to give, Mr. Savant some airwaves. It's been a minute. But no,
he deserves it.
I've said it since they acquired him. This is Dave Roberts for this team. He's going to steal them a playoff game. That said, the thing that gets me excited about Caballero is he's not just a pinch runner. Like, this guy should start every day. If I'm being honest with you, he has fit into New York seamlessly. There's no issues. He had that one hiccup where he was playing right field and the ball went under his glove. Do you know what he's done since then? Not whined, not complained, not blamed the environment, the media, the fans. He's just gone out there and he's making you forget about it. You probably totally forgot about it until I brought it up because all he's done is contribute and he's finding ways. And mind you, he was starting every day, playing a different position almost every day, it felt like, for the Rays. And the Yankees aren't playing him every day, and yet he's just willing to do what it takes to win and help this team. And I liked the fire we saw out of him don't get thrown out. Like, Stanton playing right field wasn't ideal, obviously, because they literally told us it wasn't ideal since he didn't start today. But I like the fire, and I don't think he should have been thrown out. I think my biggest issue with that was that when you're walking away, and he muttered some stuff, but when you're walking away, like, at that point, everything's been de-escalated. Don't escalate the situation. So that was my issue with the umpire, and that's why we talked about MLB umpires are worse than NBA officiating, NHL, NBA or NFL, because umpires in the MLB can just toss you and literally tell you cannot play the rest of the game or you cannot coach the rest of the game, and they don't have to give a rhyme or reason, and they're never held accountable. And so
does anyone else just get like when I watch baseball, I just feel like when I watch umpires, specifically the base running umpires, I feel like I'm just like watching like a motorcycle cop, like someone with a hard on, they pull you over, you are getting a ticket every single time. And it's like, why is there attitude with the service? You know what I mean? Like, if people are going to argue, you have to remember that this is a job, right, for these baseball players. And when something happens, you have to understand it comes with the territory. You're going to get yelled at. And sometimes you need to be the bigger man and de-escalate. And nobody came to George Steinbrenner Field today with a jersey of the umpire, right? There were no kids in the stands that showed up and said, oh, yeah, I came here to go see Paul out, at second base. No. They wanted to watch the baseball players. That's why they showed up. They wanted to see a baseball game. And so these moments kind of take away from the game, and I just don't understand the energy. There's somebody where players go over the line, and I understand that, and you can try to walk them back over the line. But when you have umpires going back and forth and having an exchange and talking at a player while he's walking away, what do you expect? I get it. You don't want like the player to kind of escalate it, but when somebody's job is to be a professional and they're barking at you while you're walking off, I get why it does get under your skin. So yeah, it's not what you want to see at all. And Mitchell with the 5 says, it seems like Boone is more interested in boosting Williams' confidence than in Yankees winning. So I'm going to move this even further. Mm-hmm. So Mitchell, thank you for the 5. We really appreciate it. People have been saying to me all month, Gary, the Yankees have to fix Devin Williams if they're going to go where they want to go. I could not disagree more. I couldn't. Devin Williams is, in my opinion, a project that has a high ceiling, but you shouldn't expect it to go back to the mean, what he was in Milwaukee. I think that's the way the Yankees are treating it right now, right? They're treating it like we're just going to continue to throw him into the fire, and eventually he's just going to sprawl out. Well, when you're sitting 5 games and then 4 games, and obviously after tonight, and you're throwing Devin Williams out there, Devin Williams found a way to get through it tonight, thank God. But do you really want to mortgage these must-win games against a team like the Rays, a team that you should beat, trying to fix Devin Williams? I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that reclamation project. So, sort of what you saw the last several days where Devin Williams will come out in the 6th or 7th inning. Maybe he's the first guy out the bullpen, Jake. Those are the type of situations I want to see at Devin Williams because he can work on his game and you're not mortgaging the entire outing. But tonight, if he didn't swim, we were sinking. And that, I don't see how analytics or even an Aaron Boone can possibly come up with how that's a good choice.
No, I agree. I honestly, I will say they didn't really have many options. They could have gone with Bednar for another inning, and maybe I would have gone with that. But I think he's looking ahead to, Boston.
He is.
And so I do want to defend him here and be fair because you have Cam, and I actually agreed with pulling him. I think he was totally out of juice and wasn't getting the calls on the corners, and that's where he was throwing, and it just wasn't going to go well. You had the bases loaded. This is the game right here. Like, if it feels like if a grand slam happens in this moment, it's going to kill his entire start, his confidence, And in addition to that, 4 runs at that point felt like the game was over. So I totally understand. Now, you can't put in Bednar. You can't put in Devin Williams. You're going to go with Luke Weaver. And I liked the Luke Weaver, decision. Luke Weaver ends up coming in. He takes care of business. Then the next inning, he gives up the home run, right? Luke Weaver only threw 20 pitches. I would have kept Luke Weaver in. That's what I would have done.
Well, I guess technically speaking, though, if Luke Weaver comes out the game exactly when he came out, I don't even know if I have a problem with that per se. But the issue with this game really was the unfortunate event of David Bednar giving up 2 runs in his inning of work. That was the real problem of this game. David Bednar, more times than not, shuts that down. And guess who doesn't pitch? Devin Williams. There's no... Right, Mitchell, this super chat ceases to exist because no one will say he's trying to boost his confidence. Well, no, technically, based on the order of how things went, David Bednar was supposed to be the last dude pitching.
You could also argue, I already see in the comments, that's so funny. You could argue Tim Hill made the most sense because of the 3 lefties. Now, you know how I feel about Tim Hill in a situation where there's a runner on, right? I don't like pitching to contact, but you would trade the run for a potential double play, right? So I feel like that's the type of thing that I would have been going for. And, maybe that's wrong, but Devin Williams coming out, it's like I feel like he ran out of options, and I almost don't blame him, but I do because I feel like it should have been Tim Hill. And I would rather him come out and say, this was the best option I felt, then this needed to happen because we needed to build up his confidence. No. Because all I care about and all you care about and all anybody should care about is winning this effing game, okay? There's a 5-game win streak on the line. You have not won many games, and now all of a sudden you're starting to win. You got to take care of business. I said it. They have to sweep the Rays. They did. They actually have done a really nice job. They've taken care of the teams that they needed to. Do they wish that they swept the Twins? Yes. Should they have? Yes. But that's neither here nor there. The point being is that they've won 7 of their last 8. And now they've put themselves in position where momentum carrying into the Boston series, it doesn't work. See, in basketball, in the NBA, I feel like those stretches work more with momentum. If you win 5 of your last 7, it doesn't hurt that you're coming from a loss. But in the MLB, you feel the loss, and the next day, it's like it just kind of nipped you in the bud. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that momentum anymore. It's like a full reset.
Hold on a second. Did Boston play today? Because I'm fairly certain they did not.
They did not. They were off.
Can I ask you a question?
Why does Boston always get off days before they play the Yankees?
The Yankees played Boston off of an off day and went and faced Crochet in game 1 at Fenway, right? Last time. And we didn't have an ace going. Remember that, right? I don't even remember who pitched that game. I have no idea. You mean to tell me we go to Fenway Park, they're rested, and they had a home series, and they're just hanging out in Boston and waiting on us to arrive after a travel day, having played the day before. And then we show up to Fenway. I guess you can say no excuses. It's still baseball. You got to show up and play, and we did, right? We said that. But then the next time we play you, we're going back to Yankee Stadium. We're in Tampa now. We just played a series, and we're playing great ball, and you're throwing. Oh, yeah, we got Giolito throwing, and we're coming off an off day. See you at the stadium. How does that happen?
You know what's so funny?
Stupid. That's dumb.
You just ruined my dad's whole day. After he listens to this, he's going to be like pissed about this the whole day. He's going to be thinking about this the whole day. Because those are the things that can't happen. Rob Manfred cannot allow that to happen. When people are constantly saying, they're using the R word and saying it's rigged, right? And then you have all the stuff going on with Clase and all those guys. You can't have this happen. This is unacceptable, to your point. And I love that you brought this up. And I love that you brought this up because I forgot about it and immediately knew where you were going with it. Like you reminded me. It's not acceptable. Like, I'm sorry, when you're creating a schedule, it should be both. Or neither team is coming off an off day, but both
not
teams.
Not twice. Come on.
No.
Maybe it happened once.
Insane.
We flushed it by the third inning. We didn't talk about it again. We didn't cover it again. And rightfully so. It's an off day. You can get over it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Once I see you again, and we're seeing you in August, like teams are now getting banged up at this point. We're deep in the season, and you get an off day in the middle of a pennant race, and now you just get to reset. I don't get that. In order for us to
against
reset,
the same
Aaron
team.
Judge, we had to take Aaron Judge off the field completely to get him an off day during the game. And then you just get to do it. And we did the exact same thing in that Kansas City series. Aaron Judge didn't play in that finale in Kansas City, and they're like, yeah, we're going to go out and try to win anyways, and we did, I think, 1-0. So, I mean, again, I don't understand it at all. I just won't.
I get it. I totally understand where you're coming from. And real quick, I want to just say, because I saw it in the comment section, Devin Williams was sensational when he had to be, okay?
Yes, he was.
He basically, in one inning, he looked like Carlos Rodon 2 starts ago, where it's like, oh, no. And then he just was unhittable, right? That's what happened. Devin Williams had no movement. I hated every single one of his pitches he threw. And then after he gives up the 2 hits and the unearned run, because ghost runners don't count as earned runs, nor should they. After that, he buckles down and you see a guy who just has tunnel vision. And he's like, I am going to strike out every mofo that comes up to the plate. And that's what he did. And you could just tell, like, he needed that. I don't believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe Boone put him out there to try and build his confidence up. I think he was kind of like, oh, shit. Like, the other team just called check. And it was about to be a checkmate. And he's
now
like,
I got to use this guy.
This is all I got. I wasn't expecting this.
By the way, did you see what happened in the final out? Did you notice anything about Devin Williams?
He went absolutely berserk.
Emotion.
Yeah.
So we've heard this a lot in our comment section. I see it all the time. Devin Williams is just emotionless. He doesn't look like he cares. I guarantee you he cares. I guarantee it. It's just not working, right? But he understands how bad this is going more than we do at Yankees Unloaded, more than anyone in our audience. He has to live it, right? He has to live in New York, walk around, go to dinner, and you're just Devin Williams, the guy who used to be a great pitcher and just hasn't figured out in New York, who's due to be a free agent. You don't think he wants to solve this? Of course he does. So when you saw that final out, you saw emotion. And that's good. That's a stepping stone. Now, will it mean everything to the point where Devin Williams is again a guy that you want to toss the ball to when it matters? Maybe not closing a game in the 9th, but maybe in a 1-1 game and Game 5 of a division series, and you just said, hey, we need you to preserve this tie. It needs to stay where it's at. Go shut it down and we'll move it to the next guy.
Yeah.
That's still a big situation in a game. Can Devin Williams handle that? And this day today, as much as it looked off to just as you put it, Jake, a Rodon start from 2 days ago, it was a horrid start, really bad. We all thought we were about to fall off the cliff, and he reeled us back in and shut it down. So he deserves a ton of credit for that. I'm obviously glad that some people obviously in our comments are seeing that. And Alex with the 20, he says, Alex, thank you for the 20. Says, I'm from Albany, New York. Didn't realize you were from the area. Yeah, I don't understand that people are like, hey, man, I'm going to New York. And I'm like, oh, awesome. You just presume they're going to Manhattan, right? They're going to the Bronx, Brooklyn. They're doing the thing.
Nope,
and then
they're
some
coming
way,
to visit me somehow.
Everyone that Jake and I come in contact with they know about his hometown. They know. I mean, we brought John Morosi on our show, and he knew about your hometown. I'm like, what is going on?
Now, to
it
be
really
fair,
doesn't make sense.
To be fair, your boy, and he's a fellow Rams fan, Drew Stankiewicz.
Mm-hmm.
His father played for the Albany Colony Yankees. That is Albany.
Yep.
So I guess it's not like a surprise that like, there's Albany Yankee fans. Obviously everyone here's the Yankee fan. If you're a Mets fan, then for whatever reason they tell you it's Mets country when it's not at all. But at least they don't say Mets Nation. That's enough to get a butt full of foot, because like I can't stand hearing that, like the whole nation. My dad hates that too, and I know you do, so we all agree on that. But no, there's a lot of Yankee fans here, and I was just in Albany 2-3 weeks ago. So I'm not in Albany, I'm like around in the capital region type deal. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking about.
I'm closer to Dave Portnoy, where he hangs out in the summers.
Right.
So
yeah, because I'm thinking about going. I want to go to Connecticut. I want to do the whole pizza.
I thought you were gonna say, yeah, I want to go to Albany. I'm like, you're thinking about planning a trip to go to Albany? All right.
No, I'm just thinking about going there to get fat, just eat a bunch of pizza. So obviously, Alex,
I'll join
you for
you.
the 20.
I'll join you. My dad and I will join you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
We'll probably do it next year when we do the whole Audi Club thing. So looking forward to that. And Ty Webb with the 5 says overslide protection would be kind of like the old neighborhood rule on double plays that went away with replay, though. So I'm so glad this was brought up. Ty, this would be in the Hall of Fame. I would override it and make sure you're in there, because this really kind of defends the point, is that when you used to watch a ground ball just be peppered over to second base and they throw the ball over to Ozzie Smith, and then he's going to go roll it over to first base. And then people will be sitting in the dugout going, man, he didn't seem like he touched the base. Well, people that eventually, the more baseball you watch, you just realize, they just give that to you, right? It offers you some protection. You don't really have to be standing right on top of the base runner to hurt yourself. You can kind of clear the way and make the strong throw over to first base. It's just sort of how baseball is. And now with replay, as Ty brings up, now if we were in a postseason game and Jazz Chisholm went to the forehand, spun and threw the ball to Volpe, and it was a bang-bang play, and he's got to throw a bullet to first, he's still got to stand on top of second base and wait till he receives the ball to throw the ball to first. That's how baseball's changed. And so I think in general, Jake, I think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe the neighborhood thing was getting a little out of control where guys weren't anywhere close to the base. I understand it. But for a guy to just slide again, and I can't say slide past the base. That doesn't bother me. If you slide completely past the bag and they tag you, I think you should be out. But if a fingertip comes off the bag and they're like, no, see, technically you're out. For me personally, I don't want to see that. Give me some overslide protection.
I like that, Ty. We appreciate the super chat. This was mind-blowing.
Wait, what do you mean?
The next time the Yankees go back to Fenway, they have another off day.
No, they don't.
That's what Sakuna's saying. Gary... Gary looks like he is about to absolutely Hulk out.
I mean, what else? What could you sell it as, really?
And the Yankees, by the way, do not have an off day. Not only that, they played Detroit the day before.
Hey, so guys, expect a barn burner, right? Detroit's a really good team. Not playing great baseball of late. But this is a game where, Detroit's going to get up for this game, right? They're considering themselves a contender. Just the same as if a Detroit played a Boston or whatever have you. Those are playoff type games, right? Bullpen, Bednar, you're going to see Weaver, you're going to see Leiter Jr., right? If Cruz was healthy, you would see Cruz. You would see all of our top guys.
This is embarrassing.
And it's embarrassing beyond belief.
This is utterly atrocious. So, yeah, this has happened, what?
And we'll throw his super
this
up on the
screen. This will be 3 times this year.
Yes, which will just bringing back the point, because obviously it was our very last super. Sakuna, thank you for the 2. There you have it. It's unbelievable. And I understand having an off day doesn't guarantee a win. Everyone understands that. But what it does guarantee you, and this is a fact, a statement of fact, is that anyone you wanted to use in your bullpen, in a game after an off day, you can use them. By all means, if you want to use Weaver, you want to use Bednar for a 35-pitch outing, you can do that after an off day. This is unfair advantage. It is.
Yeah, that really pisses me off. Yeah, because the Yankees had an off day after the first Boston series. They didn't. Yeah, they haven't had. Did they get an off day before any of the Boston series?
Did the Yankees? Well, they didn't get one. Obviously,
no, they didn't get the first two.
No, the first two, no. And
they don't get the third
one. If we don't, then no.
And they don't get the fourth. So 3 out of the 4 series, Boston got an off day. The Yankees got. How does that happen?
I don't want to just say the word rigged because I
get that.
Doing that. But what is it? Like what would you describe it as? I'm actually just going to ask the question. What is that? Very difficult to schedule baseball. There's 162 games for all of these teams, and you have to account for travel. You have to account for all of it. But when you come up with a schedule and these two teams are going to play each other, there's no justification for this happening to any team, let alone a team that just attended the World Series. It doesn't make sense.
This is interesting. So Troy is saying, Jake, what about how everyone gets a different bye week in football? The thing about that is that that's just one. That would be like if the Patriots, they got, I mean, you can't really even do it, but let's just say this. The Patriots got a bye week. They got 4 bye weeks. And all 4 of them were right before they played against a
division team.
If you're in the division.
Every time you're going to play a division team, you have a bye. And then the other team that's in your division that's preparing for said game, it's the biggest game of the year. In football, right? There's only 17 football games. And if the other team, you might as well just throw the team and play that Brazil game that the Eagles played, right? Eagles-Packers. And then what? Their division rival's going to come the next week on a short week and Thursday? No. That's what we're doing. So this doesn't make sense to me. And obviously they're going to be like, I'm sure it'll just slide. Nobody will talk about it. I don't understand it.
You should probably tweet it out.
I will tweet it out. Now, somebody will probably just listen to the show and tweet it out themselves. That person will name
is Ben Affleck is making the schedule. Oh, you've noticed that too?
I have. It's not growing anyone's show by doing it, but they do it, certainly. Anthony with the 10. We really appreciate that, Anthony, so thank you for doing so. Says, thanks for being here every day, fellas. It is our pleasure, as Chick-fil-A likes to put it. Chef Senior is my favorite player of all time, and Big G gives me the same vibes as he did, probably because he's just trying to hit the absolute devil out of the ball. Unforgivable. He's not in the lineup every day. Obviously, again, the Sox. So, okay. I'm going to say this about Giancarlo, though, and this is what it's created a problem. Because it is being covered like they're choosing not to play Giancarlo, right? He's not in the lineup, and then they'll say, well, he's just not playing, right? He has less than 40 starts on the year. That's not really what's happening right now because Aaron Judge can't throw a baseball. So if Aaron Judge can't throw a baseball, Jake, last year you tried to get out front of this and move Aaron Judge to first base. Why? Because it completely prevents this issue, right? Aaron Judge is going to be, you don't like to talk about it now, he will be a designated DH at some point in the next 3 seasons. He's going to be our DH every day. And having said that, if anything happens to him physically, he either has to DH and take Giancarlo off the field completely, or he's just got to suck it up and stay out in the outfield. Well, that's not good. That's not what you want. So right now, the Yankees are in a situation where it's either Judge or Stanton DHing. That's an issue. So the Yankees, they have a little bit of redundancy based on the health of their players. So I would agree, Anthony. I want to see Stanton. Again, appreciate the super. But Jake, what do you think about this? Because I know you tried to fix this. You were trying to come up with a solution to this before it became a problem. But the Yankees told us they have good problems to have. We've got DHs here. We can DH him. And what ends up happening is you've got two guys that really need the DH spot. What do you do?
Judge has to be a first baseman. It's kind of ridiculous to turn it down. And I've seen there's certain Yankees creators or what have you that like to just, vehemently go against the grain on any creative idea. Moving Ben Rice to third. The worst thing I've ever heard. Moving Aaron Judge to first and citing Bryce Harper. That's nothing alike. And he'd still be throwing at first base, so it doesn't make a difference. To each their own, of course. Like, you can have your opinion, but I also have my opinion. And my feeling is that if you sit there and you talk about how important Aaron Judge is offensively, right? Are you sitting there like, man, I'm really worried he's never going to play the field again. He's never going to be able to play in the outfield again. No, you're not. Because even though he's a great right fielder, fantastic. This year, he's one of the best. He honestly could have won a Gold Glove if he didn't get hurt. The Yankees have Cody Bellinger. They have Grisham. Next year, they'll have Spencer Jones. I mean, outfield isn't really my concern. My concern is making sure Aaron Judge is as healthy as can be. Okay? As healthy as can be. And the best way for Aaron Judge to stay healthy is playing first base. It's the same position most of those sluggers are playing anyway. And so, Bryce Harper, by the way, this was not brought up first by me or by you. Do you know who brought this up first? First time I ever heard it. Joe Girardi.
Did he really?
He brought up how Bryce Harper got hurt and moved to first. And basically, the Bryce Harper point, obviously I wanted Judge at first last year. But he brought it up and was like, well, Bryce Harper's playing a pretty good first base, And he was saying how this could end up being something. Like, we shouldn't just push this under the rug. This could end up being something. And I just feel as though, my biggest thing is if Stanton is right now the DH, and you see, and you see the way he's hitting, are you going to sit there and tell me and use words like clogged? He's clogging our DH spot. No. Stanton is the best hitter on this team right now. He is.
He's hitting 310, and he's hitting a home run every 10 at-bats, and he's taking walks. You can't be a better hitter.
He's the hottest hitter in baseball.
Yeah, unless if he could steal bases. I mean, then you're talking about like Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, exactly.
Numbers. This is like historic. So basically what you're saying, Jake, Stanton's playing too good of baseball, so he has to DH no matter what under any circumstances. I agree. Now, having said that, that means Judge, even with an injury where he can't throw, has to play the field no matter what. So if that's the case, what position can he play and do so? First base. That's his only option. Now, mind you, I do see it in the comments, and I want to put it up. It's in our live chat. It's very good. It's kind of piggybacking on this. I believe it was Big Picture Guys. I think so. So Big Picture Guy says Judge to first isn't crazy, but that's an off-season conversation. You're absolutely right, which is why Jake and I talked about it at length during the winter, talked about it at length during the fall of last year. That's why we did that, because we wanted to introduce the idea so that when we go into the winter, you can prepare and give him a first base glove. Let him work on it. Let him prepare to play the position. Why? Because now we don't ever have this problem. We just don't. Aaron Judge, we can just say, I know you had great defense out in right field. We'll surrender it because we need you in the lineup at the same time as Giancarlo. That's why. It's a really good reason to get proactive. And Now the Yankees are sort of reactionarily saying, oh, we'll just solve it and we'll see what Giancarlo can do. Well, you're about to go into this Boston series. Aaron Judge is going to play game 1. Of course he will. He's going to start game 1. He just sat this game. It's Aaron Judge. He's going to win the MVP. Giancarlo's probably not going to play game 1. And
There's no way. He'll play.
I don't think he will. Because
Really?
I don't. Because remember, the coverage from... I'm not telling you it's what they should do.
No,
But
no, I know
Michael
that.
Kay covered it. He said, you mean to tell me Giancarlo can't play 3 baseball games in right field? And he really didn't have a ton of action. And he's so banged up from that outing, those outings, he can't go play a single game the next 3? How bad is it? It's bad, Jake. It's bad. And so if it's that bad, Giancarlo's proven I can't do it physically.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's incredibly overblown. And you know
So
how
you
I
think
know
they
this?
you think they just didn't play him anyway?
Yeah. You know how I know this?
How?
Very, very simple. Look at Giancarlo Stanton. He's still getting doubles. Okay?
Oh yeah, definitely.
If it was as bad as it was, he's not getting to second base. I don't care if he hits it in the gap. Like, he's just taking one base. His slugging percentage wouldn't be as high as it is. It's currently at 642. You can't have a 642 slugging percentage and not be able to move at all.
Yeah, that's just not my coverage. Just because it's more speculation and I can't prove it. Like, we can't prove it.
No, I know.
But you're right. You would think that the hitting, you hit the ball in the gap, you'd think he wouldn't be able to move.
This is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I know better than the medical information or whatever is being said here. I'm saying that the Yankees have given us no reason to trust anything they say. I mean, for Christ's sakes, last episode, we were just talking about how Aaron Judge has not been seen throwing by the manager in 2 weeks. And he went on the airwaves and made a bold claim that he's not going to have the same arm or whatever.
He speculated on the player, and the player himself came out and said, no, that information's wrong.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. So
this
people
team
can speculate.
You can love this team. You can hate this team. You can enjoy this win. You can not enjoy this win. But one thing that will always remain the same is that the Yankees don't care what you, me, or the other guy think. They're going to run their team however they want, and that includes the way that they handle injuries. And I've hated it forever because, like the same thing, Jonathan Loaizaga, oh, now all of a sudden it's this. Okay, so he's gone. He's gone. He has the same injury as Judge, but he's also coming off Tommy John. He's done. Like, we're not going to see Johnny Lowe again. This is probably it for Johnny Lowe. But that's the thing. Has anybody seen an update on Yarbrough? Like, what's going on with him? And it's like, how bad was that injury? It's like, we never hear anything. And it's like, what are you really doing, right? Like, let's be real here. There's a strategic element in place. If you feel as though, for instance, it happens all the time in football, every single week, you have the inactive report, right? The practice report. Everyone's looking at who's going to play. Gary, it's always a talking point by fans. I've never been one to say it, but there are fans out there that's like, yes, I'm so glad he might not play. Saquon Barkley might not suit up. We know this. But in baseball, who's doing that? Seriously, who's doing that? Like, there have been guys to not suit up against the Yankees this year. What's his face? His name is totally blanking on me. Padres star outfielder.
Oh, you're talking about Merrill.
Yeah, Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill.
Are we sitting there like, oh, thank God Jackson Merrill's not playing? No, it's like, oh, well, that's good that Jackson Merrill isn't playing. That would probably be tougher to beat them. But, it's baseball. So this whole like gamesmanship that the Yankees do with the injuries is so tiresome.
Yeah, they make it seem like teams can prepare. Oh, well, you don't know if Giancarlo is going to be physically ready to do it, so we can't tip our hand. It's like, guys, this isn't Game 6. If this is Game 6 of the World Series and the other team's trying to figure out, do we go with the lefty or the righty? Giancarlo kills lefties. Well, let's not tell them if Giancarlo could even stand up on his own 2 feet these next couple days, because then they just don't know.
Exactly.
How about you just be honest? Say, over the course of 162, it'll just work itself out. You'll win the games you're supposed to win. You'll lose the games you were supposed to lose. I just think that's just common sense. It's simple. CMed 14 with the super says Boone with Devin is like a chimp with a machine gun. It seems like a spray and pray at this point. And thankfully, again, Devin Williams stepped up. That should be the coverage. The ghost runner, by the way, it doesn't count as an earned run for Devin Williams, which is good. It just counts as an unearned. But he did what he had to do tonight. And he showed some emotion, which I wanted to cover. Do you want to go ahead and read it?
Yes. It is. It's total bullshit not to tell people the truth about injuries when they pay hundreds of bucks and plan trips around coming to the stadium from miles away. It's also bullshit to fake people to drive 3 hours to the stadium and then know that you're going to rain out, but you just keep the chicken buckets flowing. I remember texting you like when we went out there, not you and I, but my fam. And yeah. But anyway, to the point of this, right? Ed, I agree. And we dealt with this. So the whole game that we went to last year, Gary, Nestor Cortez is scheduled to start. Now, I understand things happen, right? Things happen. I get that. We did not know until we sat in our seats that Stroman was starting. They had to have known that at like 8 or 9 a.m. Because how all of a sudden is Cortez not pitching, but he doesn't pitch until the World Series? How on earth does that occur? That's not just like that just happened. That wasn't a Mariano Rivera shagging fly balls injury. Like, they knew about it. They sat on it, didn't tell us, and now it's like we get to the stadium. It's like, oh yeah, Marcus Stroman, everybody. Woo,
I feel like they should have paid me to have been there. I took my wife, my family to that game. That was a waste of, other than meeting Jake, which was awesome.
Yeah,
what a waste of time that was. Could you believe that?
They teased us enough.
Were sitting in. What's up?
They teased us enough with that comeback.
Yeah, we were sitting in the upper deck by that point. And we meandered over to the upper deck and we were videotaping at bats. They were hitting home run. I think Soto hit a home run, actually.
Judge. I think, did Soto hit 2 or Judge hit 2?
And I don't think they recorded a hit while we were sitting in our actual seats. So it was pretty ridiculous. Ridiculous game. Scott Ross with the super, with the 5. And I think this is an interesting conversation. Obviously, it doesn't have anything to do with maybe a future Yankee. I don't know. Right? Scott Ross with the 5. Thank you, Scott. Says, what do you guys make of Tucker being benched and what does it mean for his future? Earlier, I mentioned that Mark DeRosa covered this exact decision to bench Kyle Tucker. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He's getting booed at Wrigley. He's hitting ground balls to first. He's not showing effort. It was a bad look. I don't understand how effort isn't a prerequisite or just a basic thing for you to deliver when you're just 2 or 3 months away from landing a deal that starts with a 5. How is it possible that you're not giving full effort? So I thought it was interesting. But the whole premise was that the Cubs benched Kyle Tucker for the better good of the long term. What can happen in September and into a pennant race, hopefully in October for them. What did I think about it, Jake? I'm not sure what you thought about it, but I'm along the same lines of Mark DeRosa. I just think that Chicago doesn't have enough talent to just plug and play behind him. I'm playing Kyle Tucker every day, and given their roster and sort of their team needs, I leave him be and just let it fall where they may.
One of my friends, his name is Evan. He's a huge Cubs fan. Every time you mention like, oh, I want Kyle Tucker, give me both, he's like, take him. He hates Kyle Tucker. A lot of Cubs fans are out on him. Well, because he got off to a great start, and I guess, I don't know if you saw the report, I guess he had a fractured hand that he was playing with. Mm-hmm. It was like a stress fracture. Since then, I mean, those injuries come out. A lot of the time, it is an agent trying to get under, or out in front. But a lot of the time when that happens, like, yeah, your play is going to suffer. And I don't think it's BS because, I mean, he's a great player. But Yeah, he has not. And I've been keeping tabs on him. I mean, Cody Bellinger's having a better season than Kyle Tucker right now. And
yeah, I'm not going to have the recency bias. I'm not buying into it. I get it. When someone's not having a usual season, like he's not playing the way he did with Houston last year. He's not playing the way he did the year prior.
Well, no, I was just saying that his stress fracture of his hand, I think, has a lot to do with that. So you
think that Cubs fans should maybe not buy into the performance quite as much?
I think the benching has more to do with him healing from that. That's what I think they're trying to get out in front of that.
Interesting.
And maybe they're leaning into it as a PR stint because Cubs fans literally want him benched. So I don't know.
Well, I mean,
but
it's easy when you don't perform. Fans aren't going to be clapping for you to get back out on the field. I mean, if Aaron Judge was hitting 272 right now, our audience right now would be ripping him to shreds, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's part of the job. If you're going to be paid like Aaron Judge, or you're going to be asking for contracts 300, 400, 500. We've seen up to $800 million with Juan Soto. Well, when you're hitting 250 with some pop, you're going to be criticized. Cubs fans are going to criticize those players, right? PCA, really good player for the Cubs. He's been dismal since the break. Horrible. And
they're all really struggling.
They're struggling. So this just comes with a lack of performance. If Kyle Tucker was setting it off the way he was in the opening several months of the season, right? 2 or 3 months, people were saying, oh, this guy's on pace to hit 55 homers and hit over 300. I would love to see him in pinstripes. And then all of a sudden the hand thing happens, and then next thing you know, you're not performing. People saying, oh, well, in hindsight, Cody Bellinger's playing better baseball. It's like, well, yeah. But is the average Cody Bellinger season better than the average Kyle Tucker season? That is what you're negotiating in the winter. So, but to answer the question for Scott's question here, I guess I don't have a problem with the benching. I just wouldn't do it myself.
Yeah, no, I get that. I do. And Scott, we appreciate you there for that one. And then Slim Lewis, look, Gary and I cannot stand WAR, but this is hilarious. Caballero has a higher WAR than Volpe and 180 less ABs. There you go.
Yeah, and we're not going to sit here and spend time defending Anthony Volpe. He's a grown man. He can defend himself. He can outperform this problem. He can do that himself. All that we're saying, and I think, Jake, you kind of introduced it, we can all pretty much come up with the conclusion right now that Caballero is probably the best option for the Yankees at shortstop in a short series right here, right now. But, maybe that continues on in the long term, maybe. But right now, we're walking into a series at Yankee Stadium with a fresh and rested off and off day Boston Red Sox team. Anthony Volpe, our guess, is going to be the starting shortstop of the team, not because we said it should be that way, but because the Yankees are going to say his defense is much better, and we'll just accept that a clutch homer may show up, and they're going to leave Caballero as a weapon on the bench.
Weapon on the bench.
Yep. Good problem to have.
I will say that's probably one of my favorite deadline acquisitions, and it's hilarious because I'll be the first one to admit that I didn't want him.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm not going to sit here and beat my chest like I knew. I didn't. His performance hadn't been to this level, and obviously it could have somewhat of regression as we go on.
Of course.
But so far, so good. And by the way, this has never happened before on our channel, but Yankee Fangirl for Life has dropped a super thanks on one of our, I believe, one of our previous videos, or if not during this video, I'm not sure, but it's not in our super chat section to pop up on the screen, but I wanted to make sure that she gets a shout out for doing so. So thank you for doing it. And again, Slim, again, I didn't thank you yet. Thank you for the 2. In big picture, guys, with the 2, says question, number of teams would love to have Devin as the weak link. What do you think, Jake?
I guess, well, that's a question of how many teams would love to have.
Well,
Devin.
I mean, it's a good thing that Devin Williams is our weak link.
That is true.
And we don't have to pitch. Doval is also somewhat of a weak link right now. He has no control, and it's the reason that he's not going to be pitching in games like this. Until they solve that, those 2 are sort of, I know we have worse. Like, we've got worse guys in our pen, but those 2 are the guys who can be really good up to great, and they just haven't solved it. So, yeah, I'm not sure how many teams. I would probably say every team. I would assume the Dodgers right now, given the health of their bullpen, they would love Devin Williams and just the flyer to try to fix that. They would love to have that opportunity. Obviously, their closer's not working out over there in LA, but San Diego, I'm sure they would love to just throw, even though they got Mason Miller, Suarez, they've got all those guys, they would love to throw Devin Williams and all of his beard out into the bullpen. See what he can do in the 6th or 7th inning, because you know what? Devin Williams can. There's one thing he can do. After he surrendered that ball off the wall today, he looked like Devin Williams that you talked about, Jake. He looked like Devin Williams. So I guess the kicker is, how do we get this player to look like Devin Williams from start to finish? And I don't have an answer for you. I'm not smart enough to fix it. I'm not.
He's worth a roster spot in the postseason, but high leverage, that's where, and today was high leverage, right? He got it done, but like you said, it was a Fernando Rodney outing. So
maybe he fixes it between August 20th and the end of the season. I'm not telling you guys I would push for it, but is it possible? I would say it's physically possible, right? Because Jake, you said like 2 weeks ago, you said, I'm not going to punt on the division just yet. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And you were really covering what is physically possible. And then we look up now, and we're 4 games back of the Blue Jays. They're now losing games. And now our big test at Yankee Stadium against Boston happens now. This is where all of our headway is going to be made, if it's made at all. So I'm interested to see, obviously, what happens with it. Golden Station with the 5. God, you guys have been awesome with the Supers tonight.
Yeah,
thank you. And, of course,
we appreciate
thank you for our diamond level members, because we are very excited about the voicemails. It's going to be very funny. I just know it's going to be a good time. Golden Station with the 5. Thank you. Says, I'm from New Haven. How many people are from New Haven? How many people?
Dude,
this is unbelievable. Our whole audience.
We need to take a field trip to New Haven, Connecticut, and just eat all the pizza.
Spation, please give me some pizza spots. Obviously, I'm going to go to the ones that Portnoy rated, and I think it was like a 9.4. I will be going to those places. I know they're expensive, but who cares? You're on vacation. He says, that's all we have. Pizza. No professional sports. Just UConn. Pizza will play. I'll travel.
Pizza will play, and UConn wins championships. There you go.
Hell of a city.
Doesn't get better than that, right?
Right. And so we read this one already, which is, I don't even want to dive back into it. It's disgusting. Alex.
Appreciate you.
Obviously shouting out Sons of the Show, my former YouTube show, YouTube Golf, with my buddy who plays baseball in Mexico.
Who was brought up earlier.
It was brought up earlier. So, Alex, appreciate it.
Also a Rams fan. I don't know if Alex knew that.
I don't think he would have known that, but Alex, we really appreciate it. And by the way, Alex, don't slack on the photoshopping. I need it back on Twitter. I know we haven't lost enough to be posting bald, but bald me, that is. But we need some creativity in wins too. So I don't know if you want to. I don't know what you're gonna do, how you're gonna do it, but I know you'll figure it out.
He's the GOAT.
Mark, he is the GOAT. Mark with the 5. Thank you, Mark. Says, I legit believe that Big G is doing so well because he has had these rest days. Plus, his pinch hitting has been phenomenal, so I have no qualms. Pinch hitting has actually been, I'm really glad in this Super was brought up, he's been horrible over the course of his career off the bench. He's never been good. And this isn't the first time that Giancarlo has been a part-time, right, play 80 games type of player for the Yankees. He's done this before, and we still didn't see this type of production. I just think he's going through one of his hot stretches right now. Now, can it turn cold by September? It definitely can. But there's one thing for certain here, Mark. In October, he'll be ready. And we have to find a way to get there first. It would be a shame if you've got an MVP season of Aaron Judge and you've got Giancarlo Stanton, who's playing some of the best baseball here in the short term I've ever seen him play. It'd be a shame for us to go home early.
It would. It absolutely would. By the way, we'll finish the Supers, but I got Giolito's numbers against the Yankees, and I was surprised to see what I see.
Are they bad?
They're not good. Now, understand when I say this, it's not like there are guys in the lineup that have great numbers against him. It's that he just doesn't really do well. Like, he has a 4.85 ERA against the Yankees, 17 walks in 26 innings.
Does that have anything to do with, is there any difference between pitching at Yankee Stadium versus wherever he's pitching on the road?
It's not showing
Chicago,
me the splits currently, but you'll get a kick out of this. Guess who is the only one in the lineup to hit a home run off him?
Austin Wells?
Giancarlo Stanton.
If Giancarlo doesn't play tomorrow, it would be crazy. And there were people in our comments that were saying, no, he's going to play right field. So if you think he's going to play right field, that would be the Yankees really telling you, yeah, he wasn't that banged up from playing those 3 days. We just simply didn't play him.
Caballero has the best batting average in the lineup against him, so he won't play. So we'll have the guy that has the only home run, he won't play, and the guy he's hitting 667 against him, and he won't play either. So that's how that'll go.
So Mark, I'm going to put some merit behind it. Certainly, it could help, right? Being rested and not overused. I think the same goes for all of us, right? If we didn't have to work Monday through Friday, instead you gave us Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we probably would, maybe you get a better performance out of us. Maybe. So, yeah, I'll put something behind that. And Slim Lewis will catch up on all of our supers here real quick. Slim Lewis with the 2. Thank you, Slim. Says G is getting doubles because he's a dog. He's in pain. You're right. He probably is in somewhat of pain, but he is a dog. And Apex with the 2 says Gary's wish. Granted, Kyle Tucker will be cheaper in the offseason. Therefore, we can afford both Kyle Tucker and Cody Bellinger.
That's
how
Gary's
you do it.
Wish. That would definitely be Gary's wish.
We're gonna get him on a deal. Maybe it won't happen, but maybe a deal like Alex Bregman to Boston, right? Alex Bregman didn't get a contract that he wanted. He didn't get that 8-year deal to take him to retirement, 9 years. He got something in between, right? Something with what do you call it? Where they Klarna it and they pay you later.
Oh my God! Yeah,
They did that, right?
Klarna's 0% interest. I'm pretty sure.
Yep. So the Boston Red Sox Klarna'd Alex Bregman. I think it was like a 40-year. It was like $40 million AAV, and it's all pushed into just way down the road. And they're paying him like $20 million this year. So good for them.
Good for them. Yeah. Yeah. Gary's wish granted. I like that. And then trade JD offseason for who? Okay, this is interesting, Gary. This is really interesting because I kind of assumed like, oh yeah, Joe Ryan, but now it's like they have 7 or 8 pitchers that they're going to have to trade one as it is. So this is where I would argue this upcoming off season. I don't want to get too much into it because, as you know, I care way more about now than tomorrow.
Tell Marte.
Well, I mean, I could see that. But this is an off season where we're going to see how all in they are to win a World Series. And the reason I say that is because they're in a position they've leveraged themselves in where they could theoretically package 2 of those starters and get a Joe Ryan, right? So if you're talking about, I don't know, Dominguez and Will Warren and then a prospect, I think that gets Joe Ryan. Freddie Peralta, because like the Brewers, are they going to actually pay him? Who knows? They don't really pay anybody, you know? So there are guys like that I think will be available in the winter, and it's up to the Yankees to be like, hey, are you okay being really good, or do you want to be elite? Do you want to, because they can do that with the trade market. They can compete with the Dodgers. They don't have to actually spend money. They literally have the assets to go out and get almost anybody they want. I don't think people realize that. So when you have that much
that's
pitching,
what the Padres do. If you're the most aggressive team, you get the player.
Yeah.
The team with the best farm system doesn't get the player every year. You have to be willing to play by their rules to spend what they think is enough based on what they believe is good in your system. There might be a team like the Diamondbacks who are just like, well, we're really high on Jason Dominguez. The thing you know about the D-backs is they want to cut payroll. Well, who helps you do that? A young outfielder who will play for a long time, right? They'll have plenty of outfield talent. Great. But as far as what to do, I agree with you. This is a perfect opportunity to see if the Yankees are comfortable just sort of waiting around for the future. We'll see 2-3 years down the road. If this materializes into something great, then awesome. It'll be great and cheap. But there's also an opportunity here when you talked about the surplus of starting pitchers. All 7-8 of those guys that was named in an earlier super, they're not all going to pitch for the Yankees. Maybe you can justify two or three of them pitching for the team, but you know what you can also justify? It's something you sort of just introduced here. Having 5 good isn't maybe the best you can do. Maybe trading in 2 or 3 good and getting 1 great is actually the better move. Maybe. That's also possible. That happens all the time in trades. Happens in the NFL. You have to figure out, is it good to go get one of the best players in the game, a singular asset, or do we want to have 2 or 3 good? Because it's not going to be 2 or 3 great. So I just think it's interesting. I think Joe Ryan is my guy. If I had really had to answer it, Joe Ryan or Ketel Marte. But I'm just not sure if Ketel will be available just because of the nature of his contract.
Yeah, I think I want Freddie Peralta. I don't know if the Brewers are going to pay him. If they do, obviously, shit out of luck. But I love Freddie Peralta. I think he's one of my favorite pitchers in this league, and I think he'd be a great fit, truthfully. But I want to bring this up because I disagree. Okay, Christian Brown is saying if you get Joe Ryan for 2026, then you slap in the face of the fans. You need him in 2025. Here's why I disagree. Totally understand, Christian. You want him at the deadline. Totally understand. I don't care what anyone says. The Twins were not trading him at the deadline. This was always a ploy to buy essentially attention and also gauge interest in the process of also teasing what's to come in the winter. Teams do this. We saw this with Juan Soto and the Padres. The Padres were never going to trade Juan Soto at the deadline. They were like, we're going to get the biggest haul in the winter. So they talk to teams, but they're just gauging interest. And they're also in the same time, they're planting the seed where now it's like, all right, I hope you know what you're bidding on. I hope you got your trade package ready.
And also your loss out the way. More times than not, the team that's going to try to trade for the Juan Soto didn't win the World Series. So they also deal with another year of desperation. And what will the team do? We'll send you Michael King, right? We'll send you whatever it is. And that happens, as you said, Jake, over the winter.
Yeah. No, so I don't think Joe Ryan was ever available. I think they listed him as available. They leaked it to the media that he was available, but I think it was entirely to get dialogue and gauge his interest because they also have to run a business and they have to decide whether or not it makes sense for them to trade him at all. And if they're gauging his interest and they're hearing, yeah, we'll give you like our 5th prospect, our 7th, and our 9th, they're like, okay, well, I'm not trading Joe Ryan for that, you know? So I think they're gauging the market, but I think also it's a tease and it gets people ready for the winter because look, we're already talking about it. You think if you and I are talking about it on a podcast, you don't think like GMs around the league are like, oh yeah, shit, Joe Ryan will be available in 2026.
And we'll hopefully be sitting there in the winter meetings, sitting there and throwing mics in the face of someone like a John Morosi, right? Any reporter we can speak to. And Joe Ryan will most likely, you're talking about a bad Minnesota team. That's not a good team. Joe Ryan's an outlier on that team.
Yeah.
Teams want this player. And he's not just a solid 2 in a great rotation. No, he's an ace on any team for the most part. He's a great player. And you saw the personality. It's not a matter if he can pitch in New York. That's not even a concept to someone like him. So it's just not. So I think you put it beautifully. A player like this, with that many years of control, you're not just going to figure out a deal in 2 weeks on a whim and just flip them over to the Yankees or flip them over to Boston, which they almost did, right? Or they at least talked it through. Because guess who's going to be just chomping at the bit for Joe Ryan this offseason, this winter? to pair with Crochet, it's the Boston Red Sox.
Absolutely.
They're going to be looking to do that. So it's just common sense. All that market is just going to show up later on. So, yeah, the answer to the question of Jason Dominguez, if you're going to trade him, you need to go find something great at a position of need. That's my only thing. I don't really care if you go get the one player I'd pick out of a hat as a Ketel Marte or a Joe Ryan. Go get a player who fills a hole where we say we've got pretty good or decent, or maybe they're just flat out not good enough at that position. Go fill that in. Go plug it in. And there are quite a few players that could fill that in. So I'm looking forward to it. The winter this year should be a lot of fun. Obviously, we're going to be doing a ton of Yankees Unloaded during the winter, winter meetings. It's going to be fun. So, Jake...
and no hiatus this winter. No January, February, even no November hiatus. We're going to keep going. So
we were on ice like Giancarlo. We were just... They were just giving us the week off, so it was nice, but we showed up and went on a tear.
We were Han Solo in the, what is it, when he gets he gets turned into steel.
Oh, my God. Yes.
It's just like...
So tomorrow's game is on Fox.
Carbonite,
so for those of you who wanted to listen to Michael K. and the crew, you won't. You're going to listen to who they want you to listen to. And I'm going to say this.
I want Girardi.
Me too. 7:15 Eastern. Everyone's going to be watching this game. These are the games that matter. So for all of you who are in the comments, and I didn't try to go against you. I didn't. I welcomed you here. I gave you a thumbs up. I understood you. This series matters. We're no longer looking ahead. This is it. So if Anthony Volpe and Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, right, and maybe a Ben Rice, Max Fried, Rodon, all these guys who are going to go out there and perform, you can do that against Tampa, and we'll cover it, and that's our jobs. But there's something to be said for being able to beat bad teams, which you haven't done consistently all year. You just started doing so. I think you've won 7 of 8. Now, you're going into this series. If the Yankees win this series, no one will have anything to say. There's nothing to add. If they go win 3 of 4, are there anyone in our comment section that would say, no, this series doesn't matter because then we've got them down the road? No.
Doesn't work that way.
That wouldn't be the coverage, which is why, Jake, my conclusion, simple, it's going to be short and sweet. If you win, we all shut up, and we'll put the pom-poms on. That's what we'll do. But if you lay an egg, the previous coverage that you guys seem to be very upset about, very upset, right? No one was happy. That returns. And so I'm looking forward to it. It's a huge test for the Yankees. I thought with Rasmussen, the Yankees offense really showed well. They showed their ability to have at-bats against a really good arm. And that test is going to happen again in this Boston series. Their starting pitching's a lot better than what's covered out there. I know they were looking for Joe Ryan. It wasn't a savior. It was to make it great. So they're going to face good pitching this series. Jake, what do you, I know you said a split. That was your prediction. Mm-hmm. What do you think about game 1?
They're going to win game 1. They're going to lose game 2.
Okay.
They're going to lose game 3. They're going to win game 4.
Okay.
I think they're going to beat the pulp out of Dustin May on Sunday.
That's fair. It's been pitching well of late.
And just so you guys know, because I care, and I'm sure you guys care, I know Gary cares. Fox, yes, ESPN. So Friday and Saturday will be fun to listen to. And look, I'm not going to say like, sometimes like Fox, like if we get Joe Davis, I love Joe Davis. I've told you this. I think he called a fantastic World Series. I get tired of hearing John Smoltz just shit on the Yankees constantly. Like clearly he's still upset about the World Series loss against them.
Oh yeah, that coverage is not good.
I'm over that. But Joe Davis is awesome. And there are a lot of like really good announcers. Like just because, and that's the thing, like I'm not upset that Matt Vasgersian is calling the Yankees game. I'm upset when they're on Roku. That's what I'm upset about. I mean, think about it. You pay $25 a month for the app to watch the Yes Network on Gotham. If you do. Some people don't have to. I do because it's not on YouTube TV for whatever reason. So You pay $25 a month, and you're like, I want to listen to Michael Kay. I want to listen to Paul O'Neill. I want to listen to Joe Girardi, right? David Cohn. But instead, now I got to listen to somebody who's constantly trashing the Yankees. And by the way, I don't think Yes Network is overtly biased towards the Yankees. I think Michael Kay calls it very good down the line. They're more knowledgeable about the Yankees, but Michael Kay knows baseball. There's a reason why ESPN brought him on to call postseason games. Like I remember he called the Cardinals game, and I think there was another game that he called. He's done it before. So here's the deal. Gary, how about this? In the comment section, pick 3 broadcasters and create your go-to, your favorite broadcasting team, if you could choose. That's what I want to see in the comment section. So for me, I would just go, I'd keep it simple, okay? I'd go Michael Kay, go Joe Girardi, and I'd go Paul O'Neill. That's all I want to hear. I'm not saying dream,
great.
Right? I'm not saying a dream thing. Like, I'm not saying like, A-Rod and Jeter and like, no, like realistic. What's your favorite? And that's my 3.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. And I do see in the comments, I wanted to throw up it on screen. Yankee Fangirl for Life says she's going to be at the game, so enjoy yourself. Obviously,
hell yeah,
take some pictures. I see Christian Brown here saying that we're not as good of a team as Boston. So my question is, and I'm not going to...
I disagree.
I mean, well, obviously we disagree. They're 68-59. Why is that? Why is Boston 68-59? If they're a better team, why do they have a worse record than us? Why also do they play under 500 baseball against teams over 500? Why is that? Right? The Yankees are a 500 team. That's not great. We're not going to try to paint it and just polish the turd. We're not going to do that here at this channel. We're pretty realistic. But if Boston's just a better team, why are they on a 3-game losing streak? Why is that? Because Boston's a good team, not great. So are the Yankees. A good, not great team. There aren't any great teams in the league. I hate to say it. Detroit's not a great team, right? There's not a great team in the AL Central. There is not a great team in the AL East. There's not a great team, right? You can probably argue that there's a great team in Milwaukee, right? The Dodgers and the Padres. Maybe you can say that they're inching towards it, but there's no dominant team. The Dodgers have no bullpen to speak of. They're banged up, right? The Padres have a super pen, but they're not hitting in big games. They didn't do it in the postseason last year. So I say all that to say this, Jake. Boston's not so good that the Yankees can't hang. The Yankees aren't so good that Boston can't hang. We're here. We're 2 good teams. They're going to duke it out this week. And we can't wait to watch it. Our prediction was a split. I think both of us agree that there would be a split. I'm not sure how that goes down, but you split 4-game series by punching each other in the face for a week. That's what it's going to be.
The Angels are 6-0 against the Dodgers. Doesn't make them a better team than the Dodgers.
Oh, but we just use anecdotal evidence to stake our claim. That's the whole point of 162. That's the point, right? You go out there and you get to perform over the long term, over the macro, and then we get to judge how you play, how you perform. Great teams should go out there and go win 100 games. Especially if you're in a bad division, you should have no problem doing that. Boston's not a great team. Neither are the Yankees. So in order to prove that you're great, you've got to beat other good teams. Then you can graduate and put that little star on your forehead and a little ribbon and say, oh, I'm a great team. Why? Because I can go beat Boston. Right? I can show at Yankee Stadium, I can go take care of them. If we go play Milwaukee, we can take care. Do you remember when we beat Milwaukee the first week of the season? Everyone told us they were just dog water. You remember that?
We
and now
didn't buy
people are
into
sitting
that.
here. Of course we didn't buy it because we knew we're still a good team. And so that's all I'm saying here. Boston deserves credit. They're a good baseball team. I've been waiting to see what the Yankees would do against another good team. And that's something they haven't done very well. They've done it better than the Red Sox this year, but that's marginal. Again, marginal difference. So that's what we expect this week. Marginal differences between these two teams and makes for a great series. So we're looking forward to it. We're going to cover every single game as we always do. And Jake said it best. Make sure you drop in the comment section your dream. Obviously, don't go pull announcers from the 50s and whatever have you. Give us your dream booth. Which booth do you want to hear from? And of course, if you guys listen to 2 hours and 20 minutes and you haven't subscribed, that is insane. Make sure you subscribe to Yankees Unloaded. We are giving away a Yankees jersey, fully customizable, at 10,000 subscribers. We are very close. Thank you to all our subscribers. Obviously, our new diamond level who are going to be dropping voicemails. That should be a ton of fun. So thank you guys. And what was the last thing? Like the video, Jake?
Oh, yeah. Real quick, though. We're going to have more information on the voicemails, and diamond level people will see it in the, what is it called? The comments, post section of our channel. So.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. It's almost like
tab.
it's like the tweet kind of deal. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but if you go into our homepage, you can see a little text drop where we can almost tweet. I don't know what YouTube really is doing with the UI there, but that's where we'll be making all those announcements as to how to do it, when exactly you can, and then we'll get you guys involved in the show. And again, those are going to be dropped straight into our lives. We're not going to be doing those as like standalone pre-recorded. They're going to be right then and there, and we'll see it, and you guys will hear your own voice on the show. So it'll be very fun. You can keep it partially rated R. We'll take it.
It's true. All right. Well, anyway, like the video and be sure to subscribe.
Like it.